Perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast that must not be named. I am Luke, and we are here doing our episode entitled Fuck Tradition. Yeah, we are recording on April 22nd, 2019. We are talking about Season 8, Episode 2, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Or, Glenn, what was the alternate title that we got when it was airing? Remember when it shows up in HBO now?
Game of Thrones 69.
You know, that really sets the bar pretty high. It went a little different direction than what I think
69
was originally told to us about it. But listen to this Drinks and Nose podcast on Radio Public. It's free, easy to use, and helps listeners like you find and support shows just like this one. When you listen to our show on Radio Public's Android or iOS app, everyone benefits. I was just talking to him, but Glendog is here. Welcome back.
Hey.
What's up? What are you drinking?
Not much. I got whatever the fuck you got, and then Bud Light Lime.
All right. Benj, Slive House McLean, welcome back.
Thundercats ho!
What are you drinking, my friend?
I went back to the new favorite, Guinness Extra Stout.
There you go.
And Luke, hit the studio button if you don't mind.
Studio button. We've had a studio button this whole time.
You want me to turn the studio mode off?
Studio.
Yes.
Is that better for you?
There we go.
Is that better for you?
That is so much better.
Oh, man.
You're welcome, Abby.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm looking out for
What are
you.
the other options?
It's just studio
The
mode or
bad
not studio
option?
mode. So, I'm glad you're sticking to the Guinness Extra Stout. It's a great beer. And we are also joined by Gertie of House Cut Ascension. Welcome back.
Oh, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
On this Earth Day.
Happy Earth
Hug
Day.
a tree.
It is Earth Day
Hug a
today.
tree, everybody.
Hug a tree. Get
Oh,
out
man.
there. You know, have sex with a goat or a tree, your choice. We'll get into that later.
I-
Abby, what are you
What are we
drinking?
doing out? What are we
I
doing
didn't
over here?
say any of that. I just said hug a
Fucking
tree,
goat or
okay?
a tree.
I am drinking Duplin Sweet Muscadine wine.
Sweet muscadine.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
mixing
switched
it
it up
up.
today. I got a
Excellent.
little crazy.
You know, we'll see how that goes. We'll keep tabs on you and you know, track how many slurred words you have from your muscadine.
Perfect.
Perfect. So, this show and all of our shows at thepodcastthat.com are produced with the love and support of our wonderful Imaginary Legion patrons. You can learn more about the reward tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. And as always, I forget to say what I'm drinking. This is what Glennie alluded to. This is
Whatever the fuck.
a Rusty Shackle from Steampunk Brewworks here in St. Louis.
Shackleford.
Rusty Shackle.
Rusty Shackleford.
Irish Red. If you ever find yourself in the St. Louis area, definitely check out Steampunk Brewworks. Great people. They started a brewery in the homebrew shop that they started like 10, 15 years ago, and it's really, really, really good stuff.
Yep.
So,
Agreed.
without further ado, let's give a quick update on the Throne fantasy standings. Glennie, do you have the standings open? No. Ben, do you have the standings open?
In few seconds. All right. So for the Drinks and Nose League, in first place with 4.7 thousand points is Naga's Ribs by Mother. I can't say the rest of your name.
Not gonna be working here.
Mother
Mother
of
of Krakens.
Krakens.
There we go. Naga's Ribs by Mother of Krakens. In second place is Squid Squad with by Sarah Coos, Sasuke there. Little Fingers is in third, Mr. John Taylor with 4.2K. Fearless Mermaid at 4.1K. And rounding out the top 5 is Living with Living My Rhapsody at 4K.
Man.
And tied for 5th place with 4K is You Tear Down My Shitty Wall.
Shit on my shit wall.
For the last
time.
For last time.
Glenn Dog. Tied in 5th, I guess.
Is there a tiebreaker? Or
I think
do they...
it's just it rounds the numbers, so it might not be an exact tie. It just it says 4K, but
Those
it could
son of a bitches.
like
Yeah,
you actually have 3965.
Who's in charge over
LMR has 4010, so she's beating you by a few.
So as of show wise, Go Home Gertie is sitting at 3.2K. Like Winter I'm Coming, my
Right.
team is sitting at 2.5K. And I gotta keep scrolling.
way
Keep scrolling.
Down in the depths.
somewhere in the 39
Way down,
place range.
down at 39th place at 2K is 10 Million Monkeys of. He cuts me off there.
Oh, it cuts you off, really? You can't see.
Well, like,
10 million
yeah,
monkeys of Lang.
I've cut you off there.
Of Lang.
Of cut you off.
I
there.
have to click on it to get the full name.
So
yep.
again, hopefully you guys
Just
are all
click on it.
enjoying getting points for stuff that we had no part of. That's how fantasy sports works. So we will continue to update as we go, and yeah, send in tweets of as you're getting points. I think that'd be fun to see you celebrating each time. So
IR sitting at 31.K. She says. Sorry, just looking at the chat there.
Gotcha.
Lot of ball game left.
there's
I think.
I think
yeah.
there's because this is actually really low scoring so far compared because there's been very, very few kills for real, right?
Right.
There's been
Winterfell.
kill.
Winterfell is like a pitcher's park.
There's been 4 kills.
Do any of them really count?
Well, I was talking about the 3 from Theon.
Like I said, I mean, like, none of them are named characters aside from Ned. Ned Umber.
Yeah.
Well,
True.
I think they're going to turn up the volume sooner rather than later.
You're gonna start kicking out the jams, if you know what I mean.
They're gonna turn down for what, or
NBA
as my
jam.
children think it's called, turn down for one.
Turn
they run
down
around-
for one and one
Yep.
and one.
Yep, they just
And
run
one.
around my house singing that. Turn down for one. I'm like, sure, guys.
That's like a Sesame Street rendition of the song or
I've-
something.
I'm happy with that. Okay, I'm good.
All
Little
right.
John on Sesame Street.
So let's jump into this season 8, episode 2, which was 56 minutes long. It aired yesterday, April 21st, 2019. It was directed by David Nutter and written by Brian Cogman. Abby, what was that episode description?
Well, I didn't look at what you actually wrote down, but I wrote it down. It says Jaime presents his case to Bran, Daenerys, and Sansa to answer for his mistakes. The gathered armies continue to prepare.
And where was that? Where'd you see that? Because they like update it throughout the day.
It was on my TV. I don't know.
On the
like,
TV, yeah.
Well, just like actually through your provider.
yes,
Okay.
today.
Because like HBO itself doesn't really say it until like earlier today. It showed up. Jaime argues his case before a skeptical audience. That was all it
Yeah.
said.
That's all I had.
Yeah,
So that's why I was
mine-
curious why yours was. Much
Yeah,
more
I
in
was
depth.
like, I don't have my Google Sheets pulled up right now, but I wrote down what my TV said, so this is what we got. That's through like Spectrum, HBO. It's
But
on.
then
I
when
have
the
it.
episode comes up, do you know what the episode title is right away?
No,
okay.
not until after.
Okay. Which
And the
makes
description
sense.
isn't there either. It's just like that generic 2 families battle for the.
Game of Thrones is a show on TV, and you're
Right.
watching it.
69.
69. All right, opening credits. Benj, what did we see? Anything new?
Yeah, so we got the Broken Wall, Last Hearth, Winterfell, and King's Landing again, and I believe Peter Dinklage was the lead actor again. I didn't double check that, but pretty sure.
Yep. No, I believe you are correct. Again, nothing real new. Still cool
Yeah.
that they updated it all. And
The tiles weren't moving. The white tiles were solid this time, like south of the last hearth. Like they weren't flipping over like they were in the first episode. Like they
Oh,
to show
really?
them marching. They were
Oh.
just
They do in
yeah.
other places, like in the hall at Winterfell and things like that. There's like a
Yeah.
rotating thing that like gets the floor together. But yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they have the Guess Who tiles. That I think you could be right. Maybe showing
Yeah.
tracks of where the Army of the Dead already are. Showing placements.
Exactly. And I can't tell, but it kind of I didn't get a great look and I didn't double check it, but did the astrolabe have different images
I
again?
don't think so.
I think they were the
Were they
same.
the
the
same?
exact
Okay,
same
okay.
ones from last time.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I
so
think they were the same, but definitely let us know if
And no, Shannon, I did not notice the rings. I'm sorry. I was still fairly hungover watching
No
that and I
ring.
forgot.
Speaking of rings, let's go to the Great Hall. It has a great ring. Jamie, Dany, Jon, Sansa, Tyrion, Brienne, and Bran, and a bunch of other people sitting around.
Yeah. I just went with the speakers.
Yeah.
Jamie before the Queen, Warden of the North, and Lady of Winterfell, answers to accusations made about him and denies none of them. Brienne stands for him, and Sansa trusts her counsel. Dany confronts her hand about Cersei's betrayal. So,
Yeah, I
longer
was pretty surprised that they opened directly with this. I don't know, like there was no lead into it. Glennie, what did you think of
What
this
did I
opening
think about
scene?
this? I will tell you.
Thanks.
So something to take into account is the powers that be have not really seen Jamie's character arc like we, the show watchers, have,
And the kids at home.
and the kids at home. And then Brienne gives them the no spew guarantee.
Would you like to
Elaborate on that?
Elaborate. Yeah.
So if you watch the movie
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, the one they're all in the car to listen to Bohemian Rhapsody or something like that, and the one guy is like looking like he's about to puke or whatever, and
Garth
is like, if you're gonna spew into this. And then Wayne says, oh, I'll give you the no spew guarantee.
Okay, does Brienne do that though? Does she give the old guarantee, or is it the Jamie guarantee?
No, yeah, she gets up there and is like, yeah, he's not gonna throw up.
I can vouch
That's
for
exactly
I
what-
can vouch for his intestinal fortitude right now.
Right. No, yeah, she vouches for James.
James of the Giant.
James the Giant
Spew.
Peach.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and it's nice to see that she kind of plays the card that she does. Benj, I want to go to you next on this one.
Yeah, so kind of going back to our discussion we were having Saturday night about this. It wasn't trailerific. It was the actual shot that they were talking about where the line was coming in. And yeah, I had an issue with the line from Dany about my brother used to tell, yeah, your brother was insane. Your brother was a nut job. So you really want to listen to your brother and everything. And I get her animosity towards Jamie. It's justifiable. It's just, again, you're taking the word of a known moron and crazy person. So it
But
just
she's still technically and exactly correct. That it was him. It wasn't like, oh, Viserys was wrong and he was just crazy.
he was
No,
wrong
he
for
was
he was wrong about the reasoning, but nobody knows the reasoning.
Yeah, so then how was he
unfortunately.
wrong? No,
Yeah, she just doesn't know.
It's just,
regardless of Jamie's reasoning for killing him, he still killed her father. Like, kind of no matter what it is, that's not cool, man. And that's the same thing that Dany's dealing with Sam Tarly, right? I mean, it's like, Sam hated his dad too, but he still didn't like hearing that.
fair. That's fair. I won't argue the point. I just the presentation, her whole presentation this episode just irked me, and I'll get to that. But I'm gonna go my actual note. I love that Jamie's surprised when Brienne says she would fight for him and would fight beside him. I know you can't take back something you've never had. Oh wait, that's a different line from Dany again. But it's with Brienne and Jamie, the way they, all through their interaction, I'm kind of surprised that he was surprised by it because it's like, that she loves you in one way or another. She trusts you and has respect for you. So for her to stand up for you shouldn't surprise you. Should surprise everybody else. That's fine. But you yourself shouldn't be shocked. And I guess maybe he was trying to play it off as like emotion, like, "Aw," but it came off as more of a, "Huh?" You know, that's just the way I kind of read it.
Like
and
one
it
of
was
the Sims or something like that.
yeah.
Abby, what do you think about that? Do you think Jamie was surprised or just appreciative? Like, how did you take his reaction to her standing up for him?
I don't remember it. I kind of have no idea what you're talking about right there. I believe that it happens,
Do
but
you
I'm
remember
not
when
going
Brienne
to.
stood up and
No,
vouched for Jamie?
no, I know
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Did you watch this episode?
I did,
Okay.
and I took my notes, like while watching it that first time, because I felt like last time I was super critical, and I was like, but I still liked the episode, so I wanted to make sure watching again and again I wouldn't start nitpicking. So I have just my first set of notes. But whatever you're talking about, yeah, he looked surprised and I don't know. Well, yeah, sure, agreed.
It's real convincing.
Seal
Yeah.
of approval.
So what was your takeaway from this opening scene here then?
So after Brienne stands up for Jamie, uh Sansa's response I have written here, like I was nervous as she was giving her response because she doesn't give out much. Like, is it going to be good or bad? And finally, it's like, hey, that's Brienne. If she says it's cool, it's cool. And I was like, phew, okay. I'm glad Sansa was like, yep, he's good. But I was nervous as she was giving her response. I also, the biggest thing from this, not biggest thing, but another thing I noticed in the scene was right off the bat, I was like, ooh, are we getting a little bit of silent treatment with John to Danny? Like he just fucked the right out, you know? See you later.
He very clearly did. I mean, we don't know exactly how much time it's been since he found out. I guess it's maybe like the night before. This is like, just the morning after kind of thing. And yeah, he certainly looks pretty uncomfortable, right? And like we've never really seen him with like lacking confidence. The way he's like sitting like uneasy in his chair and
says like about 3 words or something like that.
Real short. And he's like, "We need every man we can get." Just like I'm not gonna say anything else. So
I'm limited on words. I can't talk anymore.
The first time watching, I was a little because I don't know, for some reason I wasn't thinking like, wow, what's going through his head right now? I was like, man, why is he such a little bitch right now? Like what's going on? Like why?
Yeah,
what's
usually
wrong with
he's
him?
kind of
and you notice he gave
carrying
up
the ball
because in the first episode it was pointed out in the after the episode thing. First episode he's sitting dead center with Sansa and Danny. This time he advocated to position to the Lord of Winter, basically just the Warden of the North thing off to the side. Let Danny have the Queen's position.
Yeah, and I think the reason they give for that too was also that John had to kind of set the tone for I bend the knee to her, and you need to listen to me right now. But like in a minute, like I'll fuck off. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
And another thing is like it seems like they don't really give a shit about Bran. He's kind of off to the side, like next to him,
as usual.
But they don't really ask his opinion or anything like that. He just kind of says
the things
that thing
we do
about
for love.
Yeah, right. And then like no one really cares about.
All three look over at him like, "What the fuck is he talking about?
What the fuck?
You're doing great, Bran.
You're doing great.
You're doing great.
He's coachable.
He is. I don't know. Is he coachable at this point? I don't know. But Jamie is certainly surprised by that comment, and we'll get into it in the upcoming scene. But he's, I think, very surprised that it was nothing more made of it right then, because that would have really sunk that ship. I think. Yeah, it would have been tough for Jamie to talk himself out.
Jamie's
of
a piece of shit.
God, you cocksucker.
So the last part of that scene is Danny confronting Tyrion, Jorah, and Varys. Basically, mostly Tyrion, just walking down the hall, saying, "You didn't trust Cersei. You didn't. You told me this and this and this, and pretty much you fucked me over again. You were wrong again, little man." And kind of calling him out on his shit, which rightfully so. I can understand her frustration because he convinced her that Cersei's gonna do this, and so I get that. My only qualm is it's semantics, but you can't take back something you never had. She's gonna figure out a way I can take back the Iron Throne. You never had the Iron Throne. Your family did. You did not. So you cannot take back the Iron Throne. It just semantics
for her family.
It's no.
I don't agree, but I get what you're saying.
Like I said, semantics are just a little nitpicky, but help me get the Iron Throne. Help me sit the Iron Throne. Fine. Take back, not quite.
We just probably won't agree on it, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Because you don't like her, and that's okay.
Yeah, I don't, especially this episode.
But She is pretty harsh on Tyrion here, I think. She seems to really be only holding the grains of grudge on him and not really thinking back to the positive things that he's been able to do for her, which sure have been a little bit limited in hindsight, but like none of like the choices he's made have really sunk the ship at all. I mean, they've been not great at times, but nothing has been so detrimental other than, losing the Reach. That would be the one where he just got beat, though. It's sometimes you lose battles, and I don't know.
Well, take into account that when Danny was away with Drogon and Marine, he was kind of, some shit got out of hand there. I mean, you might not be able to blame him and stuff like that, but there were some bad things that were happening there. That
it wasn't like she left it in a good spot when she left either.
But I also think
but the
that
ships were being
if
burned and shit
she's
like that.
Yeah, that's true. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
that's okay. I also think if she's, like the head, she's top dog, right? And then she said, Tyrion, you're like next on the rung. When things start going wrong, where do you look? Like if you've assigned him to be your intelligence guy and be in charge of Marine, and when you get back, it's not what you were hoping for. Like he is on the chopping block. That's part of being in power or being the responsible party. You are the one that is responsible, right or wrong, whether it was truly your fault. Like blame will be assigned
Who's
somewhere,
the easiest
fair or
person
not.
to fire? The head coach.
Right, exactly. Like it's not necessarily that they were bad or they were wrong. It just accountability. I don't really know. It just sucks.
And it does. Any final thoughts on this opening scene? All right, then let's go ahead and head down to the Forges / Godswood, where we see Arya and Gendry, and then Bran and Jaime. Benj.
Yeah, so Arya admires Gendry at work and wants to know about her future prey. Jamie finds Bran under the heart tree and they discuss their pasts and possible futures.
So, Abby, I'm going to start with you on this one. What do you think of what stands out to you in these collection scenes?
Well, I appreciate that. And what stands out is Gendry's pectorals.
Yeah, this
Looking
picture right here.
real sweaty, real good, nice and highlighted. We got that dark tone coming in. It's always good for a muscle shot, He looks good. And I like Arya's little raised eyebrow, like as she's standing there looking at him, just kind of like, okay. And then we get down to business between those two. No, not yet. We don't get down to business yet. Not quite yet.
Easy, Gus.
Easy, Gus.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that back, recant, and we got some dragon glass being flung, so that was impressive, and I like that Gendry was impressed. I also like that he wants her to be protected, but respects her enough to know that she's not sitting down here. She's an asset to have on the battlefield. So
yeah, and this
well,
is
and before that point, he didn't realize how much of an asset
right.
she was.
right, exactly. Yep.
He even says like you know some rapers and yeah you're a tough girl, like yeah you're tough, but do you know what you're facing? And she's basically like, 1, yes, 2, absolutely, 3, I'm a better fighter than you. And I think it's just
Well,
how
yeah.
it came across
Make my
to me
fucking
was like,
weapon.
right, like proof, like look, I'm not exactly who you remember. You need me out there, not like I'm gonna be out there and do my part. Like they're gonna need me. So she's badass. I
Benj?
love her.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that, but I understand where Genji was coming from, and I mean, again, it's kind of one of those we've seen the progression of Arya, so but if you think about it from his position, he just remembers this young girl that he kind of rode up north with, and they were friends, and but there's the subtle flirtation on both ends of it, and that's a note I had from like that was my first note. I'm liking the subtle flirtation, it's kind of cool. Not gonna lie, the later scenes kind of like, oh, okay, we're doing this. But the I liked kind of that they were building with it, and but I did like that she showed her skills, but she's also looking for information because she's like, so what do they smell like? What do they feel like? How do they act? Because she, as she says, she knows death, but she wants to know what she's facing. She wants to study her prey. That's what she was taught. She was taught learn, keep your eyes open, get all the information you can get before you're put into a situation you can't deal with.
Yeah, and I like how she calls him out on his analysis of what they're like. They're bad. They're really bad. She's like, really bad.
They're
Like
bad, guy.
that's what you're giving me right now. Like, come on, man. Even a blacksmith's
Yeah.
apprentice could do better than
If you
that.
do drugs and you're bad,
Zombies are bad.
I'm
Okay.
bad, guy.
Glennie, what'd you like here?
I have to say that like these dragon glass weapons look pretty cool and like they hold up pretty well, pretty strong. I'd say like I was kind of skeptical in the beginning because it looked like it was just like random shale that that's
Looks
gonna
pretty brittle.
that's gonna yeah exactly they're gonna break and but like I think what stood out to me is when he had that axe and he hit it on the stump or whatever and looks pretty cool. And
I
then
like that scene.
the
too.
next thing we have, Bran kind of says something along the lines of Jamie is like, if you didn't push me out the window, I'd still be Brandon Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like kind of like a thank you or like a you did what you did, like it was probably wrong, but if you hadn't done that, we wouldn't be here today, or you know, whatever.
Seems so wrong.
Whatever
but
takeaway you can
feels
take
so right. Yeah, no, and I think we kind of chatted about this in our predictions episode of like, Bran's not gonna really be upset about it. He's gonna be more calling him like he did here of like, hey, like it was kind of a dick move, but I mean we are here now and it's worked out.
And he's like, you're not mad at me? Like,
I'm not mad at anyone. Like I don't know how at this point. But like it really though, I think Bran's people skills are actually improving. He's becoming assimilated back into society a little bit. Like he's not perfect or anything, but I think the same thing is happening with Arya too. We looked at them both in season 7. It looked so robotic the whole season. And even when Arya was happy and smiling, it looked very artificial, like she was trying to look happy and personable. But this episode and last episode, I think she clearly is back, and I think Bran is at least becoming more able to cope and fake it to be more productive in these conversations, if that makes sense. He's not so standoffish that he's hard to talk to at this point. Benj, what do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I have been liking Bran better this season, more so than the past several. Because he's a bit more personable. He's trying to explain himself a bit better now. He's not just being cryptic and creepy. He's actually expounding upon, or at least letting people in on his secret.
I saw you bang your sister. You look
Yeah.
beautiful.
You look beautiful with your gold hair flowing. But I do like the line from him. How do you? He's like, well, after this is all said and done, we'll have to kind of figure that out. And he's like, I didn't know there'd be an afterwards. It's like, like coming from the creepy kid who can see the future, quote unquote. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You just did that just to be creepy. That's it. And I respect that actually.
Just counting down the days for Jamie, I guess.
Right.
Abby, you got anything on Jamie and Bran?
Well, on this Earth Day, I would like to know where to purchase a God's Wood tree because it's pretty.
Some kind of nursery or something.
Oh, I would think somewhere in Westeros.
Well, I'm gonna need to get there, so somebody
Westeros
get me a boat
nursery.
or a dragon or a Jojen train.
Take a Jojen train, yeah.
Yeah, and
maybe a Jojen hot air balloon.
I actually asked this on Kev's stream last night about I would still be Brandon Stark. Like how? And I guess I feel like I've gotten an answer.
So what do you mean he would if Jamie hadn't pushed him out the window?
Yeah, like if he hadn't been pushed out of the window, then he wouldn't have realized like his powers, or somebody else would have.
He would have gone south to King's Landing with Ned.
So he still couldn't have been the Three-Eyed Raven. How? He couldn't have
definitely
dreams
not,
when he's in King's Landing.
Definitely not in the time period that he did. I mean, it would have been delayed at best, because he would have been at King's Landing. He would have been training to be a knight and probably doing like what most of the other Stark children have done and kind of suppress the wolf dreams, the green seer abilities, because he's so distracted with everything else going on. He had time to sit and dwell, and that made him a much easier target to be receptive to it.
I realized my question, that was like stupid because it is questionable, I guess. But when we first talked about, I had a big, huge theory about the direwolves back in season 1 and Bran's like ability because he accepted like a new life path. This is basically not what I was saying, but more on point. And I realize now that I've agreed all along. But that was my only real thought as I was watching it. I'm like, what? Okay, sure. But it all makes
It's
sense.
certainly a reasonable question, though. I mean, I definitely don't
Yeah.
think it's a stupid question at all. You know,
I
it's-
think he would have met up with Jojen somewhere along the line.
I think Jojen would have
I just-
Sniffed him out, if you will.
I just
So-
feel like Bran was destined to be this thing. So
I agree.
regardless if he fell out of the window or not, at some point
He would have been crippled.
he would have been at least a three-eyed raven. Like I don't
I just think it wouldn't have been this quick.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't know. I think certainly he was. It's one of those you can't just go back and change one piece and wow, it's so different
Right.
because that piece can't change.
The
This is a
three-eyed-
very linear
The three-eyed raven
Timeline.
claws.
Ravenclaws.
You fall off the
That
the
Harry
tower,
Potter's
and
on?
then you become the Santa Raven.
Okay. Let's head to the courtyard, where we have Jaime, Tyrion, Brienne, Grey Worm, and Podrick.
Yeah, so Grey Worm prepares some defenses. Jaime and Tyrion discuss their sister. Jaime spots Brienne watching Pod train like a badass boss and she questions what Jaime is doing there.
Benj, I'm gonna go to you first.
So I'm kind of skipping to the second part of
you're
it, but
killing me.
Fuck.
that's all right. We haven't seen Pod since the Dragon Pit. Dude bulked the fuck up. He's looking kind of studly and well skilled with the sword and everything. And I liked Brienne's kind of
beefcake.
reaction where
Beef,
she's just
Beefcake.
proudly nodding along, and like I said, he's grabbing the other guy's sword and kind of teaching him. And he's like, no. He mantumbled him.
Oh,
He's like, no, kind of thing. But this is actually kind of an odd interaction between Jaime and Brian. She's skeptical, and I can't say I saw that coming. Like her hesitation and everything. I mean, I get what she said. She's like, we haven't had a conversation where you haven't made fun of me like this. And it is weird when you have that kind of relationship with somebody that always makes fun of you, then they're not. It's like, what the fuck?
You're always a
But
dickhead.
besides that, it's like she's skeptical of his intentions being there, and I don't really understand that.
For once, I agree with you. And I guess the last time they saw each other was at River Run, right? And they were
No.
pretty. Well,
it was at the
other
Dragon
than
Pit.
the Dragon Pit, like this is the last
Okay.
time they really
Yeah.
spoke 1-to-1 though, 1-on-1, as
Yes.
opposed to like just a one-off.
Besides fuck loyalty.
right, fuck loyalty, which that's not a conversation, that's a comment.
No. Exactly.
But like the last time they had a true conversation, I thought they were pretty amicable towards each other. Like I think it's not fair of her to say you haven't talked to me this long without insulting me. Like because even before that, when they first separated and he gave her the sword, he was pretty good to her then. I mean, he was
Yeah.
pretty good when they split ways when they got to King's Landing the first. I just don't. It's been way too long for her to be.
He has
saying
that
I
reputation,
feel like.
though, being a dick.
And he does, and she's seen it.
And she's seen it.
Ben, you've seen it
Right.
too.
Yeah. No, I was doing the Jamie wave.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah.
yeah. I thought you said you've seen it too. His
Oh no,
his being a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, really neat scene though with I don't know, with the Jaime and Tyrion leading into that, where Jaime's like, she's always been really good at using the truth to tell lies, and she fooled me for so long. And I like how Tyrion's just like, no, you always knew what she was. You loved her. You loathed her anyway.
You loafed,
You
loafed
gave
her.
a loaf of bread anyway. A couple loaves in the oven.
Ham and cheese loaf.
He wears loafers. But he calls him out. He calls Jaime out on that. And I think that's good because Jaime, if he's going to truly do this and go through with his retribution or whatever, he needs to be honest with himself too. And luckily Tyrion's there to kind of not let him continue to lie to himself about those things. Lenny.
Sure. One thing I did notice is, we can see it here with the castle there. They also had them on the, what are they called? The cohorts or
They're up on the ramparts. Those are the hoardings that
Oh.
they're kind of. Oh, you're talking about the caltrops.
Caltrops.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, but they have these dragon glass pop rocks, just kind of coating everything. It's just like
Soaking them wet.
almost just like a just in case, if like one of the whites or white walkers gets tired or something. Oh, I need to lean up on this thing, and then and then they're fucked
So just
Yeah.
more defensive strategy
out of the
going on
scraps,
here.
if you will, probably.
We
So
also.
speaking of that, really quick, does anybody think that the trap that Grey Worm is
I was just gonna
making
talk about the collapsing bridge. Like, come on, it
into a
falls
foot
like.
and a half of?
I was gonna say, yeah, it's 2 foot max. Like they're fine. Like, I don't
okay.
know.
And there's only like one or two could like fit on there.
The only thing I can see that being worthwhile is like if they fill that trench with wildfire, like when that
Yeah.
falls in. Like that's the only thing. But we'll
And watch
see.
that like be the ultimate defense. Like we're all
That's
sitting
what I'm
here
saying,
like
like,
that's the dumbest
oh.
fucking thing, but
Yeah,
watch
it's
that
gonna
end up
work
being
out
like the
good.
greatest
It-
thing in the world.
The other kind of neat thing that they had, which looks very similar to things at the wall, were the giant logs hanging from the walls as well, with dragon glass spikes coming out of them too. Looks like those will probably be being dropped, is my
Come in
guess.
handy,
Yeah.
probably.
Come in loggy.
Loggy.
Abby, what did you think of what's going on here?
Well, some notes I have. I'm not exactly sure if I'm a scene behind with my first note on this, but I'm going to start here. I just want to point out, Melissa, when I had said we needed dragon glass knuckles, she said we need to like fill the outside with dragon glass just like sticking up out of the ground. So
Mhm.
like as a step. Well, I thought it was pretty awesome. They made the X's, little whatever,
Yeah,
and put dragon glass
those are
into
the
them.
caltrops.
Yeah,
Like
sure,
the big,
whatever.
like the big jacks.
Yeah, big jacks. And I was like, hey, they
Big
kind of got
jack.
your idea going, Melissa. So good job there. Good idea. Next, I think it's really convenient that we are in Winterfell, or we have these towery or castle looking things, because they are built like this. I'm going to try to explain it here with
Dance it
visuals.
out. Do
So
an
you have your
interpretive dance.
top, and it goes down, and it goes like this on the wall and down. So both Jamie and Tyrion can look over the ledge
There you go.
at the same time.
They're
And
staggered hoardings.
yeah, like what a great thing. Like I'd be in the middle one, somebody taller could be, it's just really convenient for
It's actually meant for arrow because you can stand to the side and then reach around the center, and
Classic
you
reach
have
around.
Reach around. Yeah.
but you can like kind of angle around to have aim and fire, and then come back and you're in cover.
Mhm.
So
Well-
there is a logistical reasoning to have
I don't
that.
really give a shit about that. I just think it's super
Abby just
convenient
feels
for short
included,
people.
Ben.
Thank
Don't
you.
take that from her.
I
See,
don't have to carry around
It
my
has more
fucking
than one
stool.
use,
I am
probably.
I was gonna
able
say,
Would you like me to
tackle
find you a
builders.
box?
Abby, would you be the Gimli? Would you like
Yeah.
me to get you a box?
Would you like me to
Yes.
describe it to you, or shall I find you a box?
Exactly.
Don't worry, there is
Like,
more Lord of the Rings talk coming in this episode.
And Shannon, you're right. Benji ruins everything. Welcome to my life. Anyways, Benji did point out Brienne's look at Pod. I just thought she looked satisfied. Like it was a satisfying moment for her to see her work. And I don't know, Brienne as the commander is pretty awesome. Like she's not just getting to fight. Like she fought so long to just be allowed to fight or be taken seriously. Now she gets to command an entire left flank. Like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And was that a yes or no to Jamie? I don't really know.
It looked like the sizing him up with a quick little nod.
Like
Yeah,
is what I
I
took
think
from
it might have been a head nod, but then again, I watched. I was like, I'm still unsure.
No,
So
because with his reaction, he took it as a yes. He took it as a because she was like, like kind of a agreement nod, and he kind of okay, cool.
I did not see a gasp. I just saw like a
I mean, like a
puppy dog Jamie eyes.
yeah,
Like,
and I'm misrepresenting it, but it's what it was a okay, great, you're gonna let me fight, thank you, kind of look.
yeah, I just was like, I'm not sure. I think we're cool. I think he's gonna like come out to the field and be like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get in the game. I don't know.
Put me in, coach.
Ready to play.
But do you notice now with him and her there, both of the complete of Ned Stark's sword is going to be used in the defense of Winterfell
Mhm.
because he has Joffrey's Widow's Wail. Just calling that up.
Good stuff. So, any final thoughts here, or let's go ahead and move along to the chambers / library with Danny, Jorah, Sansa, Royce, and Theon.
Yeah, so Jorah reminds the queen of her forgiveness and advises forgiveness for Tyrion and to speak with another. She then finds Sansa in the library and the two try to work out their differences. Sansa is almost cool with it, but not. Theon returns with news of his sister and a request to help defend his home.
Yeah, so this is a tough spot for Danny, right? She's doing her best to have some girl talk, and it's not going very well. It seems like it might be going well, and I think she's definitely. How many other synonyms could I put for that word in there? Pretty convincing about her intentions for not manipulating Jonzo. You know, I think she's pretty honest about that. Like, hey, the one thing I've ever given a shit about is going back and taking the Iron Throne, or taking it back. Just depends on how you say it. Um, just to piss Benji off, but that's okay. Um, but and they seems like they're finding a little bit of a middle ground until Sansa drops, the total intent for independence bomb, right? It seems like they're kind of leveling and getting to know each other a little bit. And then it's like, yeah, this is all great and stuff. But if we look back at that opening scene where Sansa just kind of proclaims, I'm okay with listening to Brienne and letting Jaime stay. And she doesn't like defer to Dany's decision on it, really. She just kind of makes her opinion known and then lets Dany start talking. But it wasn't like, Your Grace, what do you think? No, it was just, I've already said mine. And I think this is kind of what she was leaning towards of, yeah, well, after the end of this, I don't plan on bending the knee to you specifically. So, Glenny, thoughts on?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much said it all. But Sansa sticks to her guns. It does seem like, they're gonna come to an understanding and then become best friends and make bracelets and shit like that. But
Friends
Sansa
forever.
comes in high with a, well, what about the North? After you take the throne, like, we're not gonna just bend the knee. You can go fuck yourself. So then it kind of turns, and before we get the anything else, it what's his face interrupts, and there's something else you guys have to come and see.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was gonna ask Abby next, but she's disappeared. So Benj, go for it.
Yeah. So I didn't hate the scene. It was very interesting, very intriguing, and I did like the dynamic between the two. My kind of note on it, I'm not sure if this is from Amelia or Danny, like if it was acted this way on purpose or if it was just bad acting. And I say that because when she's like trying to have the girl talk with Sansa, it does not feel genuine. Now, if it's written that way that she's supposed to be acting like she's trying to have girl talk with her, then okay, it made sense and it worked because you can see
And that's interesting.
subdivision of or the subtext of her conversation where she's just like, I'm just doing this to try to appease, but I honestly feel like it was just acted almost badly that Amelia couldn't actually get the facial feature to be softened of, hey, I'm trying to be nice here, because there was times where she's like trying to be nice and soft, but like there was still, and before she dropped the north hammer, there was still something, it wasn't meeting her face, it wasn't meeting her eyes, weren't kind of showing what she was talking about.
Yeah, whenever I first saw your note and you said you weren't sure if it was Amelia or Danny, I feel like I remember that feeling watching Full House. Was it Mary Kate or Ashley Olsen? You never knew. It was always hard to tell.
Or was it Michelle? But and that's what I'm saying is, if it was Danny in that aspect, it's a well written and well directed and well acted scene.
I
But
think it is. Personally, I think it is because she doesn't people like this. I mean, she has had very few friends to talk like this with, or peers. So I think it's tough for her. Lenny?
trying to convince someone that doesn't see the same way. Like, she doesn't have a lot of experience. Like, a lot of times she just kind of does things and people just follow her. This is kind of a different nut to crack in that Sansa's not going to crack that easy.
So I guess the next person I'd like to hear from is the mother of podcasts. What does she think of this scene here?
Turn the camera a little bit. Oh, never mind.
I think you should call your mother.
Oh, Glenn. I think she's talking to you.
I bet Glenn has talked to his mother more
Yeah,
than you.
I called my mom earlier today. So
See, I knew it.
I tried to see my mom on
Glenn.
Easter, but she's with my sister in North Carolina. So,
But I have a phone, and you could call me
Oh man.
hey,
or text
guilting
me.
on live stream. Look at this.
Yeah. Ben, you're right there too, buddy.
And Luke's the
Where'd Ben
favorite,
go?
folks. Explain this one to me.
Yeah. Didn't hear from anybody here.
wow.
Ouch. Live blast.
I
Man,
know.
I should probably end this call. This is getting bad.
Stop the stream and call your mother.
All right, I gotta go make a phone call. I'll be back in a minute.
Gotta call your mother.
I gotta call my mother. So, Abby, what did you think of Sansa and Dany?
Well, my only note on here is, but what about the North with a big gigantic heart? Because we can be friends, we can respect each other, but at the end of the day, this is what matters to me, and I fundamentally cannot agree or be kind to you if you expect us to bend the knee. Let us be our own people. We won't war with you. We won't whatever. You can sit on the Iron Throne. Sit on some greasy old rusty swords. That's fine with me. But I want no part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So as Glenn said, she stuck to her guns. There's no reason to fake a relationship here when this is at the core of it.
Yeah, and I think she certainly makes a really good point that, it was taken from us. We took it back. It wasn't like we owe you anything for getting this back. We are in alliance now. John may have sworn fealty or whatever, but, we haven't necessarily. And just because he gave up his claim at this point, and there's clearly a weird kind of power struggle going on here. But I think Dany's trying. This is new information to her that
She is trying. I
She's
feel like
trying.
I don't think she's trying. I think she knows how to people, and you can't use that excuse. She knows how to people. She knows how to deal with people. We've seen her doing that. But she does.
Not
She knows
these
how to.
highborn ladies.
She
Never
knows,
in her life.
and
has
exactly. She knows how to deal with underlings. She knows how to people with underlings. She doesn't know how to deal with people on her same level, and it's
Underlings are
and that's her
wild.
issue. It's.
I think we're kind of saying the same thing, Ben. She's never dealt with people at the same level as her.
Yes, but that's not an excuse for that to. That's not an excuse for her acting, the way she is. She's trying to, like, it's an odd way. It's weird because she is trying. I said this last episode. She's trying. She was trying to be the new girlfriend at the family reunion. Hey, I'm just gonna hang back here. I'm not gonna step out of line. But her problem is her pride gets in her way over her intelligence.
She should just be like, oh yeah, cool, Sansa. Yeah, we're totally friends. Let's just figure out this North thing later. Or, oh, you can be your own free country when that's not her intention. So she should just lie.
She did the same thing with the Ironborn.
She should lie.
She told Yara, oh yeah, we'll talk about it. It's an option. But she's not going to even say it's an option for the North.
She hasn't said that it's not an option.
She didn't say anything.
But she hasn't said it is an option. She hasn't said it is an option.
Sansa very, very much sprung this on her, where Yara was blatant. Hey, I'm coming to ask. Like, she was very deliberate about the way she approached Daenerys with it.
You this.
And it's different people do things different ways, and it's all new. Guess what? It's all going to work out, and people are going to be happy about it. The one scene we kind of skipped over was actually Daenerys talking to Jorah right before this as well, where Jorah just kind of says, when I found out you picked Tyrion to be hand at the queen, it kind of broke my heart. And she was like, I thought you were basically going to be dead. Like that, don't put that on me. But he's like, no, you made the right choice. I hated the guy, but, he's certainly brilliant. And the way you forgave me for my past discretions, like, you need to keep working, flexing that muscle, the forgiveness muscle, because Tyrion is the right man for the job, and you need to not keep holding this guilt over his head, because it's only going to make there's only going to be resentment between them, which is not going to be productive at all. And I think that's really big of Jorah to do that. It's very much like last season with Jorah and Jon, where Jorah's kind of like, you know what? All right, yep, she likes you. It's fine. I'm just gonna kind of back out of this and let that be, and I'll go my own way. And so, anything else to add to Jorah and Dany? That's kind of all they talk about, which comes up more later. Abby, are you adding something? You're muted. Abby, you're muted. Nothing? You got nothing?
Nope.
All right. So then the next part of this would be, Maester Wolkin comes in and kind of, I guess, tastefully interrupts this well-timed. And we find out that Theon is back in Winterfell. It was a quick jaunt over Benj.
Yeah, so I did like this reunion on all aspects of it, because he does exactly what he's supposed to. First, he greets the queen. She's his rightful queen. He bent the knee and everything, and then he tells of Yara, and then asks. He doesn't say, "I'm here to fight for," or I'm going to fight for Winterfell. He asks, "Can I fight for Winterfell?" I'm here because I want to fight. Like, he asks as a request of Sansa, not as a I'm here to do this kind of thing. It's a very subtle way he did it, but and that hug had a lot said behind it.
Mm-hmm. Glenny?
So.
Yeah, I didn't really get the interruption. Like, it was pressing news. Like, oh, Theon, it's something that I think could have waited.
Is that really like interrupted the queen and the lady of Winterfell? Some bloke showed up and he says he knows you.
Yeah. Like you can wait a little bit longer,
This is like an over dinner conversation. Like, we can figure this out later.
Right.
Abby, what are your thoughts on this reunion here?
It's nice. I actually was surprised by just how happy Sansa was to have him there. It makes sense. I'm like good with it, and I know a lot of people have said like, "Oh, they're gonna be a thing now." I don't know if that's true, but
It's true.
And that's fine. I'm good with
They
it.
shared
Like,
soup.
They shared soup, Abby. We'll get there.
Okay, I mean, like, and I'm good with it either way. I just thought it was really nice because it made you realize how impactful Theon has been to Sansa and what she went through, and how impactful Sansa was to Theon in making him return to Theon. Like, I thought it was really nicely. It's just very appropriate, I guess.
They certainly share a bit of the survivor relationship from the same, monster, right? And that's just something, you survive a crazy event like that. Those are people that you get through it with, and that's a special bond that is just never going to go away, kind of thing. And so, regardless of if it's romantic in the future or anything, this is meaningful on very, very many levels, no matter what. And it's what both of them need, I think. They're a good combo right now.
They really are. And I think like Theon had to personally overcome just every fear he's ever had, like real legitimate fear, just to say, "Okay, Sansa, maybe I'll go with you," or maybe let's, like, mad respect on both sides for each other, and to just have that respect entirely. It's like, without question, this person, I know who they are in and out, and they've seen it. I feel like Brienne and Jaime have that for each other also. Whether they become romantic or not, there's a level of common survivalness events that you cannot take away from a person. So I didn't realize it was going to be like this when she saw him, but it totally made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So can I say something to that point? I don't know if I buy into the shipping thing of them being in a physical relationship. I think it could be closer to, as Mackenzie L. Burns pointed out, I believe it's Queen Elizabeth I, where she's the Virgin Queen kind of thing, and basically he is her side puppet monkey kind
What's
of.
his name? Oh,
Puppet
he's good
monkey?
looking in the show.
That's exactly what I think it is for sure. I mean, they're companions. It doesn't have to be a physical relationship. They are companions.
It's kind of one of those soupy relationships.
You have some soup.
There's not much like living through a attack on a mountain troll that brings people together.
Mm-hmm. There are a few things you could do without becoming best friends, and fighting a mountain troll was one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, also Reek been beefing. I know we kind of mentioned that last episode, but I don't know, he certainly looks pretty fucking beefed up,
Yeah.
right?
Beefcake.
Yeah, I noticed that last episode, but yeah, this one he's looking good. He's got
Yeah.
the hair, he let
He's
the
got
hair
the
grow
flow
out.
going, the mullet,
Hit
I
the
think my
flow.
favorite thing
business
about
in the
this
front,
is
party in the back.
that is a mullet. When when I first moved to North Carolina, we have a thing here called the Mullet Festival, and I really wanted to go because I was like, "This is the coolest festival I've ever heard about." It's fish. That's a
Oh
fish.
man.
Like, how disappointing! I was so
Did you-
disappointed.
you sh-
It's a fish.
You shaved your head.
It was a fish thing. It wasn't a hairstyle.
You cut your hair into the mullet just for the festival
Dude,
and
Yeah.
showed up. And
All right, next year we're all showing up at the mullet festival with mullets. And I
Like,
don't
got this
need
little
fish.
pamphlet, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a mullet festival! I am going!"
It's like watching Slapshot. 80s hockey
Uh,
players all over.
I don't know if I've ever been so disappointed in my whole life. That was a big letdown.
Glennie, you got anything else on Theon and
I'm gonna say no to that one.
okay? Anybody else? Good scene. A
Move
really,
on.
really strong scene, I thought. Much happened?
One other thing, really quick.
Sure.
So when we first walk into the library, Sansa's talking with Royce again.
Mm-hmm.
So this is now the second time where somebody's come upon her. So they've gotten very close as as an advisor. Like it's a very and if you're reading the closed caption, they were just talking logistics. It's not
Mhm.
like whispered whatever, just talking kind of logistics of food and all that. But it's one of those a lot of people keep bringing up. Is she plotting something with Royce? I don't know. I mean, I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to. What's the word? Not a Trojan horse, but basically trying to make a red herring. Make you think
Yeah.
that
They're giving
yeah,
us a
they're-
Percy Weasley.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
No,
I think
anyway.
so too. Hey, let's have them quietly talking and make it seem like there's a thing. There's not a thing. They're just doing their fucking jobs. Like that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But I'm always wrong. So let's go to the courtyard where we have Davos, Gilly, a girl, Ed, John, Sam, Tormund, and Barrack.
Yeah, so Davos feeds some new recruits, Gilly leads some elderly, and the two meet a sweet girl who wants to fight. The Northern Alliance made their way to Winterfell and warn of the Night's King arrival by morning.
All right, Benj, kick us off here.
Yeah, so I legit fucking teared up at this scene with the little girl. Davos looks over. First, he talks to the guy, and he's like, well, you're a fighter now, so go to the armory. They'll suit you up. And Gilly comes through with the elderly. She's like, I'll be in the troops with you. We'll be taking care. And then the little girl's like, which way do I go? She's like, my brothers are fighting. I want to fight. And Davos looks down, and she's got the scar on her face. I'm probably thinking either birthmark or fire, because the only two people to live through grayscale officially that we know of is Shireen and Jorah.
No.
So no,
A bunch of children
have they? Okay. Then
at least I don't know if that's been mentioned much in the books, but like they're like, yeah, usually only you can survive it if you're an infant, because if you get it when you're older, you're almost. I mean, all of them.
See, and I thought they were
basically
just
do.
talking
It's
about
like getting the
Shireen.
chicken pox when
Like-
you're older.
Like I thought
Right.
Ebros was only talking about Shireen.
No, I don't think
with
so.
that, but okay. All
I
right,
think there's
that's
been a
fine.
few goats that have had
Completely
grayscales.
fair.
Don't hold me to that. I'm pretty sure that was the way it goes though.
But completely fair. But either way, so she had the scarring, which was reminiscent of Shireen, and Devs is talking to her, and she's like, "Well, you can go wherever you want." But Gilly pops in, and she's like, "I think I'd be more safe, more comfortable with you protecting us in the crypts and blah blah blah." And as she goes, "Okay, I'll go to the crypts," and as she says that, the "I know, oh," tune plays in the background, and I legit was like, "Huh." So I'm like, Davos is probably the same way. I really liked it. I love that scene so much. I don't even have anything on the next part of Tormund and everything coming through. So that's it.
What Gilly does there really reminds me of whenever Sansa was helping get Rob and
Yes.
Aaron down the mountain from the Eyrie, and she was like, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do it. Luckily, you're here and you're so brave that you can help me get down." It's very much the make myself look weak to bolster them up to have them do what I want them to kind of thing. And I thought it was a really,
Exactly.
really strong scene from Gilly. I'm not always the
Oh, absolutely.
biggest Gilly fan just because I think a lot of times it's kind of boring and it's whatever, but Great character moment here. Her playing a bit of a motherly role, more of like a sisterly role, really. I think,
Yeah.
and it's really nice to see. And the girl was certainly really cute. That little Scottish accent, I was big fan of that. Buddy?
Yeah, I think it's one of those, like, don't tell her no, but just give her some kind of little job just to keep her happy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, before this, like, you see the kind of three schmucks come up, and like, you can tell they're just kind of like, well, like, we're not soldiers. Like, well, no, everybody's a soldier.
You are now.
So, and they just kind of have one of those looks on their face, like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the armor's that way, and they'll fit you with some weapons. So,
which is nice.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, Abby.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. One, I am surprised that this scene right here, like, landed or is as lovable as it is. Like, it's fantastic, and really, we got some soup being poured and a little kid talking like about wanting to fight. There's not much more content, but it just shows who Davos is at the core and who Gilly is, and these real people in this world. There are children who will be affected. There are parents that will be affected. There are old people or young people. And my first thought was, Davos is serving soup. Like, I guess we're all hands on deck at this point. Like, Davos in on the meetings.
He is the Onion Knight.
Probably good soup.
The soup knight.
Probably very good soup. But it really is at this point, like, whatever I can do to help by everybody is what's happening. And that's when the most incredible amounts of work get done. I like that Davos asks her, which way do you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
And both him and Gilly know the value of a child. That's what I like most about them. A lot of the other characters, not that they're unimportant, they want to make sure the children live and they have good intentions, but they don't see the value in the real life, like their stresses or their wants and needs, other than their children, put them in the crypts.
Mm-hmm.
And Gilly validates her here by, like we said, like, give her a job, and it's an important job. It's something that she can hold on to, and I'm here for a purpose, and that makes her feel good. I did write and say, like, it's a great mom move. Like, it's smart, it's intelligent. I just love this whole thing right here. That's it. I love it.
Yeah, and so this is a bit of an overarching comment for this episode, but like the humanity that is shown in this is like what Game of Thrones is about. And it's about tits and dragons and battles and things. And I can see why people would look at this episode and say, wow, like nothing happened. How boring. Wow, this is fluff. Like this is run of the mill Game of Thrones.
I haven't heard that one before.
Whatever. Like, and I can see that, but I feel like you're missing the point of, you have to set the lovability factor up for these characters so that when it just heightens the risk, for everything else going on. And these are, like Abby very well stated, the realistic things that would be happening before a fight, and pretty much the rest of this episode is very much like, hey, we're getting ready for fucking Helm's Deep. We're getting ready for the Battle of Pelennor Fields, which is the battle in front of Minas Tirith. And we'll get to the biggest homage being paid to that here in a little bit with Pod. But like, you have to show the humanity so that the loss is more valuable in the long run. So that's why I think this is such a phenomenal episode, because they do it so genuinely and well done.
No, I absolutely agree with you. Like, because I was hearing that all day of, oh, it's kind of a filler episode and this and that. And it's like, it's really not. This is what the show is all about.
This is the
last
soup.
episode, what's that?
This is the soup.
The soup of the episode?
This is the soup
of the episode. This is the meat
soup,
and potatoes.
Soup is not a dinner. Soup is not a dinner. But, like we were talking about last episode, it's what hooked me, because we had the political, intrigue and the political aspect. This is the human aspect. Next episode is the best. So I think we're going to hit on those key, like every episode might have one of those key tenements of the show. So like episode 5 is just tits. It's just going to be All boobs and butts and flaccid
45
penises.
different pairs, a minute.
Wines and
You know?
chickens and butts and
Wines,
boobs.
chickens,
and-
butts. Maybe they're gonna play Cyvass.
So yeah, but again, yeah, this episode, Ramin is killed it this whole season so far musically. Again, using the Shireen theme under that, it was just beautifully done.
So the other part of this scene, unless Abby, did you have anything else on that? I think you kind of picked all the meat on that bone. You did a good job.
Yeah, thanks. I did really like that. I have seen online people saying that Gilly has a double chin, and I'm just gonna put out a Gertie service announcement. Shut the fuck up.
Everybody has a double chin at this point.
I mean,
They're beefing up for winter.
it's cold. Maybe she is pregnant. Maybe she's not.
Either
I
way,
don't
winter
know.
weight. Like, get the fuck
Either
off.
way,
Yeah.
don't be a dick. Okay?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Nobody has any
I
room to talk.
absolutely agree. I'm glad you brought it up because I did catch it, like had the thought, like, hey, I wonder, is that actress, pregnant or something was at the time of filming? I had the thought, but I wasn't gonna call it out. I'm glad.
She's also wearing an "I'm pregnant" actress outfit, right? I mean, it's very much like
Yeah,
she's wearing a lot. Like, I get
Yeah,
it is cold, but she's from the north. Like, she's from the true north. She shouldn't be this wrapped up. In
All
my
I
opinion.
know
I'm with you
is
though, Ab. I'm just
that, like, regardless of the situation or whatever, doesn't really matter. No, she fucking killed this scene, and it stops there.
shit.
Boom.
boom
No,
goes
nothing
Gertie,
else.
Gertie
Got it.
Okay,
Dynamite.
and in fairness, I had no clue about that, Shannon. So let's see, good for her
See?
then.
Yes.
Even better.
There we
so,
go. Perfect.
So
like,
read
not
the
perfect.
comment
Yeah.
out.
It says that she is overcoming an eating disorder, so stop the shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
None of us knew. I mean, I think she's great. She's talented, fantastic,
Oh, yeah,
and
and she's still hot as shit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything weight wise.
doesn't-
She's still
well,
beautiful. So
yeah, beautiful. But her being healthy is number one thing.
Exactly.
So
Speaking of healthy, we have a couple more characters show up that are still alive. I'm alive. I am alive. Alive, I tell you. You wanna go
this
run a
was
stream run?
like set perfectly after this heartfelt Davos Gilly scene with the little girl, and you get all the feels, and then you hear the song come in, and who is Ed's there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, and you see Sam embrace, and John's going for it, and then it's just abruptly halted by Tormund. I thought it was a nice way to like give us a break from all you criers out there crying for a moment.
Hey, criers, start laughing.
Yeah, right. Thank God Tormund's here. I can feel like maybe I have a heart, but yeah, it was
You're showing that I have a heart. Stop it. Stop
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah, no, and this is a big bro Huggins scene, right? It's about to, hey, how you been? Thought you'd be dead. Glad you're not. Like, cool. Glenn, thoughts on bro Huggins?
Yeah, so the thing I don't really get is so they like went to the last hearth or whatever, and they're like they had to like dodge them the whole time, and it just kind of seems like be tough to dodge them very easily. I don't know, maybe they're just in a different part of the north or something like that, but it's a big army, I think.
yeah, I had the exact same thought, Glenn, because I brought this up on our Saturday night pre-discussion. It's if they just show up at Winterfell without showing them at least going around, I'm gonna be a bit annoyed because that's a huge fucking army to try to maneuver around. Even if there's only 6 of you, 6 or 8 of you, however many there are,
Yeah,
it's still a lot of fuckers to get around.
right.
So it's like, it just, I know consolidation, have to get it, have to make it work, and it's time. Can't. It's just, come on.
And then, like,
Really?
the thing, you never get the perspective of the Army of the Dead, really. And so, like, we don't even really know what they're doing, what they're, where they're held up at and stuff like that. And you really just don't know. And maybe that's part of it, that's going to be a big payoff, just not knowing.
So some of the major tenets of the show, all right, it's dragons, politics, humanity, and the Army of the Dead is incredibly fucking slow when moving as a pack. They were fucking a mile out in episode 1, and then at the Fist of the First Men, that's not that far, and they went
It's
right
like-
on past Sam.
Like
and
The
they
Walking
just dicked
Dead when they
around.
see a horde of zombies in the
Just like,
the
oh, well, they'll be
distance,
here in a half an hour.
Oh,
They're
shit.
like 20 yards away. They'll be here in an hour. So, and we also know from the Beyond the Wall episode, you can outrun them. If they're in a group, you can outrun them. And smaller numbers is better against larger numbers when it comes to speed of travel. I'm being a bit of a dick, but you know,
no. I mean,
but
it's fair arguments. It's just
and I
let's
think
see it.
there's
you know?
certainly other things that the Army of the Dead could be doing that we don't know.
Like
but
what?
let's touch on that.
Elaborate on that.
Saturday. For
Oh,
the
man. Okay.
while we're at Ice and Fire Con, we'll talk about that in a little bit here too. We'll be doing our speculations episode from there somehow.
Ooh.
Figure out logistics when we get there. We'll see. But yeah, no, it's a fair point of like, hey, wow, they must have really been booking it to get around them. I'm glad they at least mentioned it. They were like, yeah, we had to like go all the way around them just to get here. And if anyone's outside right now, they're on their team. Like they got picked last.
We dressed up like
Not here.
whites. Just to...
We dressed
Do
up
the
like
Walking
whites,
Dead.
just
Do the Walking Dead
dumbest
style,
fucking scene of Walking Dead I've ever seen. Oh, we're gonna dress up like them and meander through this giant horde.
Put blood on ourselves and just like
So dumb.
limp around
I
like
am
we're
not a Walking
zombies.
Dead fan. Sorry. Let's just go meander through it because we smell like them. Anyway, Ben, you got anything else on this little reunion here?
Nope.
Abby?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, some good bro huggins. So let's go to the council room where we have just about everyone.
Everyone minus Cersei, Bronn, and Qyburn, and the Mountain.
And
That's
Pat
yeah.
LaMontagne
And
and
the
Harry
and
Strickland.
the Golden Company.
well, yeah,
And
Hot Pie.
elephants.
And the elephants.
And goats.
We'll talk about goats later. Don't you fucking worry.
Cut off the remember feed at the goats. All right. So the War Council convenes, and Bran lets them in on him being the Night King's target.
Heart.
He will wait
Pop-Tart.
in the open, and Theon will defend him along with the Ironborn. Tyrion is ordered to the crypts for the battle and has a sit down with Bran.
Abby, kick us off.
My biggest note was we got a what the Night King wants, I guess, which I've been wondering that, like, what does he want? What? So apparently it's Bran, and he wants an
he's the
endless night.
He's the most important character in the show.
Like, I mean, you have been saying that for at least 3 days. So
I've been saying that since like the show started.
you know, if you want to brag, fine, go for
I
it.
will.
I'm just kidding. More John silent treatment. I mean, I think you guys are going to do a wonderful job covering this. That's just my biggest takeaway was we got a real what the Night King is looking for, and that's, I don't know, kind of
So,
scary.
Speaking of the wonderful job that we're going to do, talk about this, Glenn.
Yeah, so one thing Bran says that kind of stuck out to me, like I'm the target here. He's tried before with many three-eyed ravens. He wants to erase the memory of mankind. I just thought it was cool with the many three-eyed raven. I know we had, the other three-eyed raven, but this has been like a thing. I guess it's been going on, passed down to raven generation to raven generation. And it just kind of reminds me, it'd be like Lieutenant Dan whenever Forrest Gump is like, somebody in his family has died in every single American war, and then you just see like pretty much all the Dan family like kind of perish in their respective wars.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I wouldn't have thought about it that way, but that's because I also haven't seen Forrest Gump.
You haven't seen Forrest Gump?
I've seen it. It's just been a while. You give me shit about
You
it.
have
all
no
the time.
idea what I'm talking about.
What movie is this? Is Billy Crystal in it?
It's close.
Yeah,
no, it's not.
I mean, Bran is, I'll say it again, certainly the most important character in the show, and here's your validation. If you've been looking for it, this is exactly what Night's King has always been looking at. He doesn't give a shit about Jon. That's why he let Jon live. But I like that Theon, stands up to protect Bran, who is the most important character in the show. And kind of in the middle of this conversation, too, there's a pretty big vote of confidence from Dany to Tyrion. She kind of washes that bug that was dropped earlier. It's like, hey, I've kind of rescinded on my being pissed off at you. Like, I need you around. Don't get out there and fight, because if you get killed, then I'm really fucked. Like, I need your brain. Let's just make that happen. And like a couple other things, you know, like they don't know if Dragonfire is even gonna work on any of them. I mean, it likely will, but even Brand's like, I don't know.
No one's
ever
before.
tried. It's a
Anybody ever try running up the sword through him?
Has anyone tried Jello? Is he allergic to Jello?
Well, it's like, hey, has anyone tried to clean their toilet with Coca-Cola?
I think we'll say that works.
And it works, yeah. Apparently, it works. So you never know.
You never know. You got to give it a shot.
You know, it's not a good idea. People have said to put
Orange vanilla-
Coca-Cola
orange
on a
vanilla Coke.
corrosive car battery. That's a bad idea.
No, it actually does work. You don't dump it on. You're not like soaking it, but over the rust, it does work.
If
It
you
can
use
work.
orange vanilla Coke, it's said to be
Orange vanilla
the same thing,
God,
but just with orange
I'm gonna
vanilla
reach
Coke.
through this screen and smack you.
It just smells more like orange vanilla than it does with just Coke.
Yeah, right.
Just saying, I saw a battery blow up once because they did dump it on bench. It was not me. This was not my
You
genius
can't
idea.
dump it on.
I was just sitting there and I was like, well, we'll just start pushing.
It's
Have
also
you-
better if you take it out of like disconnect the battery and do it first, and not do it while it's connected. Just saying.
Abby
But
was also offered battery acid to drink when we were little. I remember
this
that.
is true.
That was
I
a real
do
story.
remember that as well.
What a
Yep.
nice kid our neighbor was.
All right, Glenn's pointing at the screen at the picture here. Is there something you wanted to talk about with
I
this?
just think it's interesting, this little map of Winterfell, and you
yeah.
got the formations going. I think I saw there's like a couple Targaryen things right here. I can't tell what that one was. Maybe like the Vale or something like that.
Could have been.
Um,
And they have a wheelchair by the.
they got a wheel.
Yeah,
They just got a wheel. No, they don't. But it was interesting. You see, like, zoom out a bit, but the whole
all
looks
of
like
the northern side of the
dominoes
table.
or something like that.
Like if they just come from like any other direction, they have the advantage.
Right. That'd be just awesome
Flank
if
'em.
they were just using any kind of like board game pieces.
These are the rest of the Guess Who tiles.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Ben,
So yeah, my thoughts on the scene, and I will admit it here. I had a theory working. I'm gonna buy into the Bran as the target because of the reasoning that he used. That if you truly want death to overrun the world, you have to kill the memories. You know, that's how death actually takes hold of everything. You have to kill the memory of
dead
something,
memory.
and then death is final. Like, I don't remember my great great grandfather or my great grandfather on my mother's side, you know, because I met him once when I was 1 years old or whatever, but I have no memories of him. So to me, he's truly dead. But my other grandparents that I have met have had time with that I have memories of. They're never officially dead because I have the memories still of them. So using that mindset, I will get on the Brand train with you that he is the target. I will not say that won't be surprised if my original thought or prediction comes to fruition, but
Gendry. He's going after Gendry.
Little Sam.
We'll see.
I know, and that's I'm sticking with it. That I'm not gonna be surprised, but I will jump on the train that, you know what, the show writers probably will just stick with doing the Brand thing, and that's fine, and it's okay. It makes sense. At least they worded it well and made it for a dumb person like me to understand, to where it's like, okay, that absolutely makes sense. Cool, fine, you know.
It makes me think of a song lyric that goes, "A good friend once told me, we are but memories. Without them, we equal nothing." Which I think is pretty fitting for this. And if you know the reference of who that band is, say so in the chat. I will be kind of surprised. But yeah, I also like Glenn's shout out to Dead Memories by Slipknot. It's another wonderful song shout out that applies here. Abby, you got anything else on this council room scene?
No.
At the very end of it, I really liked how Tyrion sits down to chat with Bran, right? And he's like, "It's
Oh,
been
I
a
didn't
long
get to see it.
and winding, journey that you've been on, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, more interesting than most. I'd like to hear about it."
Yeah.
And I love how Bran's
And
just
then we
like,
don't.
it's kind of a long story. Good thing we're stuck in a fucking castle in the middle of winter, nowhere to go. Like that's especially like the conversation that just happened at the table. that's kind of Tyrion's thing too, is storytelling. Like he likes to know the histories and things too to add to it. And if he can garner some information from Bran, like that's only going to be valuable for Tyrion in the long run. He's opening his, I guess, acceptance of the more magical realm because he's seeing more and more and more proof of it. So he needs to kind of catch up on that side of knowledge because he's been a little against it, or just blatantly not going into it, other than dragons, which is its own thing. But I don't know. I thought it was a nice little conversation because the last time they saw each other was a good interaction. It was when Tyrion presented the saddle for Bran, and I mean, yeah, that was where Tyrion also throws out that I have a special place in my heart for cripples, bastards, and broken things, and it's just nice to see those two have a quick little moment together. So if there's nothing else, Abby, do you have anything on Bran and Tyrion, or just thumbs up, good scene?
It was a great scene. I wish we could have heard a little bit of it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think we know like the gist of it, so we don't necessarily need to be there. But I would like to. I don't know. It'd be interesting just to hear Bran retell it.
So what you didn't see is, Bran actually just pulls out the Blu-ray set of the first 4 seasons. Gotcha. It's like, hey, this is all the important stuff.
No, what you didn't see is the mind meld of Bran just.
Yeah, see, I was more thinking like Spaceballs. What happens next? I don't know. We have this new technology. Go get the VHS of Spaceballs. And wait, when is this? This is now. This is the now.
Wait. But when was that?
Never show this again.
But what's that? That was then.
That was then.
Well, when will that then be now?
Soon. They've gone to plaid.
That was the best Valentine's gift I ever got my wife, was a locket with on the front, when will then be now, and on the back, soon.
We can't stop. We have to slow down first.
We've gone plaid.
Abby, what were you going to say?
I do think, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily confirmation, but we have heard Bran say at this point, I don't know, it's never been done before. So that leads me to believe like he can't really see the future, which I'm not sure if we've had a clear yes or no to that question before. But for me, I'm kind of like, okay, cool. Like we are only seeing memory or what's happening at this point.
Oh, the seeing the future, because that was stated, right? I don't know. We don't really have any evidence of that at all. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's go ahead and roll on out to the courtyard and ramparts where we have Missandei, Grey Worm, John, Sam, Ed, and some dog.
Yeah, so Grey Worm asks Missandei what she wants and promises to protect her people. Don't think that bodes well for one of them. The Night's Watch brothers talk of Sam's achievements, and now their watch begins. And we got motherfucking Ghost. Well, we got a cutout of Ghost, or dog that's
a cardboard cutout of Ghost transplanted on top of the screen. Yeah.
With just a couple little breaths.
Look around over at Ed. Look back.
Oh, hold on. I would like to go in here. I believe that last episode or so, Shannon Thompson was called a sweet summer child for believing Ghost would appear in episode 2, and there was some knee bending that was promised if it happened. So, Benj, I think you need to get on that.
I don't recall saying I would bend the knee, but on that one, there was another bet that was made. But fine, I will bend the knee that Ghost appeared in this episode.
Do go on.
There. I'm not getting that much here. That's too much of a bitch. I don't make a lot of noise.
Pretty weak. Shannon.
Weak sauce. Shannon, I tried.
Fine.
One second. Burn them all.
I'm muting. Abby, stop talking so I can not get.
Oh, I'll just click on him. Abby, you can talk. and there it is, folks. That is an official knee bend. There it is. There it is. Glennie, thoughts on?
I will be back in a few minutes because I just broke my drinking glass with that knee bend.
Nice going, Shannon.
Drink, Shannon.
That's what you never bet.
Blame Shanada. Lenny,
Oh.
Missandei and Grey Worm, or
Okay, yeah. I like basically the Night's Watch part of this, with the boys talking, but just before Ed gets there, I guess, and like basically Sam's kind of asks, "Oh, have you told Danny yet? Like the whole thing that I told you?" And John just kind of like, "No," and Sam just had one of those like kind of Cartman, kind of lines of, he's just buying your time, waiting.
is that it, Kyle? You just
wait-
bad your time.
waiting for the perfect moment.
Is that it? Is that it, Dad? Did the penguin tell you to do this?
Butterscotch candy, Clyde?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, but I like how he's essentially kind of like guilting him, right? He's like, "Oh yeah, you haven't done
Well,
that.
I guess you're just gonna,
You
I don't
just-
know, buying your time.
You just, gonna just
wait for the
wait
perfect moment.
wait a while, see how it just plays out by itself." I like it, the passive aggressive guilt. That's good. Abby, what'd you think?
I thought a lot of things. They're really good thoughts.
And we so believe you too.
What are we talking about?
Oh my
Grey
gosh.
Worm?
Oh my God.
Ah,
We can
Grey
talk about
Worm.
Grey Worm, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, he's making promises for the future. I just feel really, really not so great about that. I mean,
Never make plans about the
Yeah, like-
future.
get your hopes up, keep them low, and then you might be surprised. I don't know. I also thought it was really sad that they're going to fight for Danny and they're going to fight her war, but they're never going to, they're never going to be accepted there. That's how they feel. Yet they're still there fighting for her. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel sad. Like, it just makes me feel really sad for them.
That they're making these plans that.
Well, No, that they're there and they're giving their all. They're putting themselves in so much danger and risking everything for a place that will never be their home, as they feel. They will never be accept. Like, I can't even imagine making that personal choice for myself. Like, I'm not wanted here. I'm not accepted, yet here I stand trying to defend you.
Mm-hmm.
I could go back to Marine or Narth or whatever and at least have another, I don't know, maybe year, a little while. You kill down some of them and we'll pick up what's left.
Yeah,
It just
that
makes me
is
sad.
really shitty, and that's been every time these two have been on screen with
Yeah.
anyone else that's not, anyone that's from the area, the locals, the townies, if you will, and I don't know, it just seems like blatant racism, right? I mean, and this is like the people of the North, where typically you try to think, oh, that means they're the good guys, but they're just ignorant, right? I mean, a lot of the times that's where it comes from, and it sucks that these two, Missandei and Grey Worm, are doing everything, giving their all for people that don't give a shit about them, and that does suck. It sucks a lot.
Yeah, it really hurts me for them in this scene. Like, the little girls run away from Missandei, and I'm like, you have no idea who she. Like, I just, it's offensive, and it makes me really just. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sad world that they're living in, and people are still living in today. So it sucks.
But at least they do have each other, like that. I'm not saying that makes it all better, but at least they're not going
There's
it
somebody.
alone.
Like, yeah, I guess.
And they both
but-
see it, and they, are there for each other each time, it seems like. And just still not a good idea to make plans. Like, I like the idea of like, hey, you gotta have some hope, right? You gotta have some hope. But as soon as you say that shit out loud, guess what?
Yeah, it's like,
You're back
hey,
on the
I'll
list.
see you later. It's not goodbye. It's I'll see you later. But we're not planning next week's vacay, okay? Like, oh man, I was just like, no, Grey Worm, stop talking. Don't talk about this wonderful, easy future like of bliss, because that's just never seems how it turns out.
So then we do get to, I don't know, anything else on on the guys hanging out. Ed gets there, pretty funny as usual. He's like, if Sam the Slayer, fucking lover of ladies, is the best we've got, nothing else has ever told me this truly is the end of the world. Like, couple good one-liners.
Yeah, and I love Sam's indignation towards this, but also calling out Ed, where he's like, well, if that makes you fucked, that's the only time you're getting fucked, or something along those lines. because he's the only one to not have broken his vows, as far as we know, unofficially or whatever.
Mhm.
So I like to say I'm kind of calling him out. That's what leads to the Sam fucking Tarley, the Sam the Slayer, the lover of ladies. But I like that he calls out that he's like, I was the first to kill a White Walker. I was the first. I was at the first one. I, killed Thens. You killed a Then. And
Then.
you killed a Then. But yeah, calling you accurate isn't, or was DA calling you fucked isn't strictly accurate. Thank you. But and he's like all that, and then he's like, and I stole a lot of books from the Citadel. It's like you start with the big one and you work your way back. So by the end, you're like, and that's actually not that badassery. He's like,
Right when he said that, I was like, really? That's what you're throwing in here? Like, I didn't pay a fee, a penalty fee to the library when I didn't return those books. Oh,
right.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, but well, because yeah, you start off big, you're like, yeah, and then you got nothing else. It's like, yeah, but I do like, because they're calling him out, and their mentality is fair, because John's like, if you want to go down and stay in the crypts, and Sam rightfully thinks, oh, you're saying that because you think I'm a coward. Well, in fairness, you're the first one to come up and say, I'm a craven, and you admitted it. So it's hard for people to forget all your other achievements when the first thing you tell them is you're a craven that can't fight. Even though you've shown yourself over and over again, first impressions mean a lot. And this still goes to show best friends, for however many years, 4 or 5 years now, it's, still sticks with them that, yeah, you were still a craven at one point. We tend to forget that.
Anything else on these guys? I thought Ghost looked pretty cheesy, but to be completely fair.
I didn't even give it enough. Like, I was just like, oh my, it's the only thing I tweeted. Ghost. Because I didn't care. He was there. We have like confirmation. We have had a sighting. Thank you.
That's the whole Ghost
activity.
budget for the entire fucking season.
I don't care. I know it's
don't
not.
think so.
It is not.
I know.
I appreciate Ghost being there. Okay, everybody, listen. Put him in more. It counts.
Oh, I think he's going to be
Doesn't
in
have-
quite a bit more. This was just trying to wet the whistle, if you will. Speaking of wetting some whistles, let's go to By the Fire, where we have Jaime, Tyrion, Brienne, Pod, Davos, and Tormund.
So Jaime and Tyrion discuss their father and are joined by a few new friends. Tormund gives us a tale. Can I start on this one, Luke?
You can go ahead and start on this
Thank
one.
you. Thank fucking God. We got the Giant Spain tale. We get this introduction into Tormund's second chapter that he's ever in. We get the story of the Giants, of why he's called Giant Spain. I don't believe he goes into. It's a lot better than being called Tormund Giant's Babe. I wish they would have had that line in there. But besides that one line, it's almost word for word from Storm of Swords, John 2, Storm of Swords, or John 1, Storm of Swords, and it's just so good. And the way Kristoff, the actor, portrays it, and then ending it with the milk chug, the goat's milk chug, just fucking beautiful. So I absolutely like when he started talking. He's like, they call you King Killer. Like, some do, but they call me Giant Spain. And I'm sitting there like, oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? And they fucking did. I was like, oh, I don't care how much whatever else happens this episode. I'm like, I'm pleased.
Glenn, were you pleased?
Sure. So I think basically, like, Jaime says something about, oh, we didn't really want to interrupt you or something. And Jaime's like, you really think any of us are going to sleep tonight? Basically, big day before the battle. Like, yeah, I don't think anybody, it'd be hard to go to sleep, and kind of similar. I don't think I'm going to get any sleep tonight since this, stream is taking fucking forever, but whatever.
I love Pod's face when Tyrion pours the wine for him and it's overflowing. That was my favorite part of this whole scene here.
Yeah.
Abby.
I really liked Tormund's drinking horn. Number 1.
Big fan
That
of
was
drinking
aw-
horns.
Yeah, it was epic. I did not like the goat milk chugging. Gross. It was a little too much for me. That was a little too graphic, I guess. Like, my stomach was curdling. I also found this scene, I don't want to use the word awkward. It wasn't like super horribly awkward. But we have Brienne sitting in between Jamie and Tormund. And I loved every minute of that. Like, I called it one upping, but what I think is like Tormund tries so hard. He's so, like, I would knight you 10 times over. And then Jamie's like, oh, well, I'll just do it once.
Well, that's
So
the
you
next
want to
part.
knight or not? Oh, sorry.
Diff-
But that's
Either
fine.
way, that's it's a
It's the
carryover.
same thing. There's a fire and there's people talking. It's the same fucking scene. Whatever. Sorry.
But it very much fits with the same theme that's going on of Tormund's doing everything he can just to be like, hey,
Oh, him getting knighted is the next, or her getting knighted is the next scene.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, exactly. So yeah, we have them just Tormund's trying so hard, and I I don't care who she ends up with. I don't think he necessarily has a chance with Jamie around.
Because
But
he
the
has a
fact
chance
that
with Jamie though.
maybe, but the
Depends who
fact that
dies.
she has like that fan is, I just love it. Somebody who just appreciates her for everything she is.
Yeah, it's good. We'll see how it goes. I really don't know how I feel about it. I do like how Davos is just like, nope, I'm not here for the wine. I'm here to roast my buns because I'd rather sit in here waiting instead of sitting out there and freezing my balls off.
Right.
And then Tormund does his thing, and Davos is like, shit, maybe I will have a drink. This is getting ridiculous.
Right. And before all this, he did have the conversation between Jamie and Tyrion, basically talking about, I would love to see our father's face. Yeah, like Tyrion's like, you know what I'd love if Tywin was here with us. And Jamie's like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, just to see his face of his two crippled sons defending and fighting for Winterfell. It's like, yeah, Tywin would fucking shit a gold brick on that one.
Yeah, that would be an interesting, like, what would Danceman be doing right now? What? Are you fucking kidding me? I guess Cersei really is most like me.
No, he would have gone up there because he would have realized the threat was real and then actually put some fucking plans together and gotten everybody in the whole fucking world to be there.
No, honestly, I think Tywin would have gone the exact opposite route. He would have gotten as many people as he could off the fucking island, off the landmass.
He literally did this before. He waited.
Out of sight, out of mind.
He let other people fight.
You guys might have read all the books and know everything, but you're wrong, okay? Tywin for life.
Sorry.
All right, Abby, I apologize.
It's okay.
Tip my cap to you. So let's. Anything else on this initial by the fire scene?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to on the ramparts and near the forges where we have Arya, Sandor, Beric, Gendry. Sorry.
So Arya has a chit chat with her old friend about why he's there, and then she heads down and practices some bow work before Gendry shows up, and she wants to practice something else.
Abby, going to you first on this.
I love it. Love every minute of it. It's perfect.
Would you like to expound upon why?
Why? Well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like some people have said, and I don't want to like take how your feelings are or whatever, but
your feelings are always wrong. Just
they're pretty much always right, and the only reason why at least I show up. But I just hit a lot of things. That's all right. Like, oh, this was weird, or it was like Arya, and that's strange. For me, it was just, I don't know. She's a young woman who, like she says, is about to die and has every right to experience this very human part of life. And why not pick Gendry, who, like, are they going to get married? I'd love that. But who knows? But is a trusted, decent person. I don't think she could have made a better pick. I also absolutely love her, like, oh, was that your first time? And he's like, with leeches on me? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. It was
sorry, Gled.
how many
Go
times
for
has
it.
leeches been on you?
This would be once. That's my count. And I just thought, like, no, but like, you and her, you still hooking up or what? Are we cool to go? So I liked it. She's the right age of this. It doesn't sit with me a wrong way. I think it is a very, I don't know if responsible, but like good choice for your first time and why. And I'm all behind it.
Yeah, but what? Too bad Gendry doesn't mention that he's still hooking up with Bella. You know,
Oh man,
from the Riverlands.
go ring her bell,
Go ring her bell.
Glenny.
So, yeah, I agree with what Abby was saying. Arya's becoming a real person again. She's kind of getting past the faceless man way of life, I guess. I mean, she's kind of keeping some of the skills, if you will, but I think she's just trying to be Arya Stark again and experience things, come of age, if you will,
What you did there?
and maybe even run a stream.
What? What the fuck? No. Run a stream. Oh man. Um. Yeah. So like, I very much appreciate Arya's humanity coming out. That's something that only makes her a stronger person. Like you were saying, and Abby was saying, is she has all these skills and she has like the best of both worlds at this point. She can be a real fucking human and have all of the abilities that she has worked for, and is kind of super powered and is also just a normal fucking person now, which is very very valuable to have. In her conversation with the Hound, I thought it was really interesting where she was like, "When was the last time you ever fought for anybody but yourself?" I never really took him ever to be like selfish. He was always fighting for other people. I don't think she ever
Yeah,
realized
he never
that,
really did anything for
'cause he was-
himself, really, if you think about it.
right? And he was always fighting in the name of Joffrey.
Being told what to do.
He was
stuff like
fighting
that.
for Sansa, or he was fighting for Arya. I can see.
See,
Abby, what do
Yeah.
you think?
when she says that, do you automatically get defensive towards her and be like, you idiot? Like,
Yeah, and he was like,
that's
and I loved it. He was like, I fought for you, didn't I? Like, I thought that was like an incredibly touching moment. Like, there were a bunch of those where even
Yeah.
his humanity is coming through, and because I think she is about the only person he could say something like that to, and have them realize what it means, kind of thing, that he would
Yeah.
open up to, because he's still so closed off in general.
Absolutely, and I love the interaction between those two as well. And going to your point though, Luke, from her perspective, he was basically always leading her along to sell her off, to ransom her off, and basically just, in her opinion, be in it for himself. In his opinion, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to get what I can out of this situation, but I'm gonna protect this person. I'm going to fight for this person, and so I could see kind of both sides of it, where they were where her mentality was coming from, but also we see what his was too. I did like when she first sat down. He's like, "You used to never shut up, and now you sit there like a fucking mute," And she's like, "I've changed." Uh, this was more the interaction that I wanted on the first get together compared to last episode. Instead of the hostility from the Hound, as I said last episode, it made sense seeing it, and I was okay with it. But this is kind of the more what I wanted, just kind of him opening up and trying to get the conversation going, and her just kind of being stoic and kind of leaving it as is. Did you have something else you wanted to? Did you have another?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and because then Thoros shows up too, or sorry, Beric shows up, and he's like, the Hound is like, Thoros isn't here. You can save the fucking sermon. And, like, I just love that he's like, no, like, no, stop it. I don't want to fucking hear it about your goddamn Lord of Light. I don't fucking care. If you keep fucking going, I'm gonna throw you off this fucking wall, and you're not gonna come back this time. You can go ask him yourself why he kept bringing you back. I really loved that, because the Hound doesn't give a shit about it, and Beric, like, fine, like, we get it. You've lived and been brought back because of it, but like the Hound doesn't care. Arya doesn't care. Like, but then they just sit there and drink together, which was
Well,
cool.
I like how like he's just sitting there drinking by himself, and then like everybody comes up and is like,
Yeah, take
give
a
me-
drink.
give me a drink." Oh yeah.
Arya
knock
is
yourself
so
out.
comfortable with him. She just takes it from him. Like,
Right. Have at it.
yeah,
Down the
we're
hatch.
sharing now.
So my last note on this section, going to the Gendry Arya scene, it was cute. It was well done. Shout out to Maisie Williams for putting the work in. She looked, fantastic. I saw the report or the interview with her that, yeah, she found out it was happening, and she's like, I gotta hit the gym, and look good for a 22-year-old girl. It was like she looked great. Uh, and don't mean that sexually. She did a great job getting in shape and everything. But I did not see this in this position in this episode.
Did you see it like in Reverse Cowgirl or
You know,
69.
Game of
Doggy
Thrones 69? We
style.
thought for sure that Game of Thrones 69 was
Did
going
they
to come
call
in.
it Wolfie style?
Game of
I
Thrones
don't know.
69. Yeah. But I was meaning I saw this hookup coming after episode
Oh,
3.
you've already changed your opinion that it wasn't even going to be these two. Don't you?
No, I did change. No, I originally I was a shipper. Then I was
I
like,
know.
then I
know.
changed. You're right.
That's
But
all I'm saying.
Like, you know, as soon as I saw the flirtation looks in episode 1, I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. I thought they would drag it out more. I didn't think it would be episode 2. Boom, here you go. I'm okay with it. It took me by surprise. I was like, oh shit. Oh, okay, we're doing this. You know, I assume that's kind of how Gendry felt too. It's like, oh, okay, we're doing this. Well, okay then.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's nice. Good for him. You know, that's like it's a pretty normal thing. Like, hey, we're probably dying. It's kind of the classic, you know, tropey going off to war, you know, thing of like, oh, I may never see the light of day again. We might as well bang now. Like but it's done in such a way that it doesn't feel like either of them are being shitty to each other. Like there's really a relationship here, and I think it's really positive for both of them. I like it quite a bit.
It was definitely almost like the soldier or something. Oh, I might die tomorrow. So tonight we got to live it up tonight line. This wasn't presented in that like it's a line kind of way. It was a we really could die, and I want to have this experience. I don't know why it makes a difference, but to me, it comes across in a much not even romantic, just like, hey, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't a line, I guess.
Yeah,
is all
and
I
that's
mean.
my point. Like it could easily seem like that, but I don't think it is. It seems like you could take it as, oh, it's a line, but I like that it's the role is flipped, that it's the girl initiating it all, which is cool. And two, like I think it is really a relationship of some sort. It doesn't have to be a long-term lasting thing. I don't know, but it's good. Glenn? Abby.
Sorry.
Glenn?
Glenn,
Abby.
go ahead.
Abby?
I
Glenn.
won't be rude.
I don't really have anything to add.
Nice bow staff. Darth Maul action coming soon.
So I did not realize in that picture that this was going to be a staff.
It certainly does not look like it's staff. I would have to go back
thought
and
it
look.
there's
was
two
like
parts to
some
it.
type of like dagger dirt, like something small throwing
Mhm.
knives on each side that came apart. I absolutely did not think it was going to be that big. And then when she picks it up, I'm like, oh my God, the fucking waif with her little spinning. I wasn't expecting that. That's my last thought on this set of episodes. It surprised me.
Okay.
Set of episodes, set of scenes.
I'm done with these episodes.
What is it? Sweet muscadine? Mm-hmm. That's the ticket.
All right, so let's go back to the fire, where we have what's I guess being called the Council of Elders.
Felt fitting. All right. Oh yeah, so it's my part. Tyrion lists off the battle accomplishments. Brienne's non-knighthood is discussed, and Jaime rectifies that.
Glenny, why don't you kick us off here?
Yeah, I like how Bree got really just unselfish. 'Cause, like everyone's just kind of the council is forcing her hand to get up there and be knighted, and she's just like, oh no, I don't really need it, But then like she gets up there, and then everyone's just like cheering for her, of her accomplishments and stuff like that, and it's just awesome to see how happy she gets, and she cracks a smile and kind of tears up a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
It's pretty cool.
We've been talking about facial acting quite a bit in the past couple weeks and everything, and it's unreal what Brienne, what Gwendolyn Christie does here. From the disbelief to the, outright saying I never wanted to be a knight to it finally happening, and it's such an unrealistic thing for her to have dreamt about in her mind with the tradition. that even I don't think she ever really expected this to happen. Like she probably wanted it and all these things, but just suppressed it so much that she never would have fathomed that being an actual true thing that could have gone down.
And another night can night another night.
That's true. That's always been true. Bench?
Yeah, so this is another one of the scenes this episode. Even on the second time through watching it, I couldn't help but get a little choked up during the knighting. It just it hits you. It pulls at the right heartstrings, and it does it so well that they just makes you realize how great the show. It's over and over and over again. This episode of how great the show is, the small subtleties, and the like. I loved how Brienne and Pod had a full on conversation without a word being said,
Mm-hmm.
because as Glenn pointed out, she was she's like, it never meant anything. It's tradition, but and even Pod's looking at her like, hey,
Get the
I,
fuck up
I
there. Yeah.
yeah, I know where you're, going. I know you. And she's like, shit. And then once James says kneel, she's like, no, I'm not going to. And she looks at Pod, and Pod's like, fucking stop.
This is what you've been working for. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Exactly. So it was just a great scene, and yeah, fuck off all the haters of people I saw yesterday saying, "Oh, Brienne smiling broke the screen and all this." It was a genuine smile. And for somebody who, and it was a well acted smile. The facial acting, as you said, it was meant to be awkward because Brienne doesn't smile. She's not that big grinner. So when you do it, when you're not used to being a smiler, it doesn't fit right all the time, and so it was perfectly done. And so it was a very emotional scene that I really did enjoy.
Yeah, I'm very, very much with you. I think it was incredibly well done. Abby?
I really liked that as she's knighted, we use the warrior for bravery, I think it was, and the
Mhm.
father to be
Justice.
just, and the mother for protection of the innocent. I always really like when they throw in, I know it's the seven and we have a whole bunch of different like gods and whatever, but just the idea behind like a true knight. And Brienne is all those things. It is fitting that she is a knight. And then it's like she cries as she is knighted. I think there is no more genuine and authentic reaction than that. I have it on good authority from a very reputable source that about 100% of Marines that get the title of Marines cry when they get it. So I just think it's girl, guy, it doesn't matter. It's just such a hardly won and fought after thing, deserved, earned thing that is the emotion. And I like that she was crying.
And now this one thing I'll bring up, it's not on the actors themselves, a perfectly acted scene. There's a great thing for the after the episode where Nikolai or Costa Waldo says to the director, he's like, was that okay? He's like, I kind of blanked. And the director's like, dude, I mean, like it was absolutely perfect. He's like, I just kind of autopiloted, kind of blanked, like I have no idea what I just did. And that's the tell of a great actor when they can do that and they're just feeling it and going. One thing I would have liked to see is Jamie asking her to swear to, like, do you swear to defend
God.
you? But yes,
All right, now say a swear word. That's what real knights do.
right, yeah, but you know what I'm saying is like because it's one thing to be anointed as this, but it's another to swear. It's a small thing. It's a two extra lines to add in, but I just feel like it's would added a bit more, like even more to the scene than what
Mhm.
they had.
I don't understand what you're saying right now.
I'm saying
Not
like Lady Brienne, do you swear to protect the innocent, to uphold the like basically the oath of office kind of thing? Like
It has to be consent on both ends, kind of thing.
exactly.
like she didn't swear an oath to do these things
It was proclaimed on her, kind of thing.
on her, right? She okay, yeah, I get it.
And so I mean, like I said, it's a small thing, and I'm
But it shows the
perfectly
weight
fine.
of accepting that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get held to it at that point, as opposed to this is just something that's thrown on you. I can see the
Right.
Exactly,
difference.
because even Jamie calls out you're told to swear to this and you're told to swear to that. You swear so much that you don't even, and that's the Knight of the Kingsguard thing. But it's still, it's one of those, you're accepting this duty and this honor, and as much as it's being bestowed upon you.
Yeah. I do like that Tormund was using the knighting her 10 times over as a total flirtation thing, right? I think he meant it genuinely for sure, but he was doing it as like a, oh, she's gonna love hearing this and butter her up a bit.
Oh, I don't even know. I just think he genuinely is like, look, woman, if you was up to me, like,
I think it's both. That's like, I think it is both, because he's trying to do it to butter her up and get in her good graces a little bit, but he certainly means it. He's not just blowing smoke up her skirt or anything. Um, but Jamie seemed to like never have really even considered it. Like when Tormund says that, it light bulbs in Jamie's head of like, well,
well,
shit. I mean, I
Jamie
can do
is
this right now, and I know that she deserves it. Like I know
right.
this.
Jamie's indoctrinated into the society
Mm-hmm.
and to the traditions. It wouldn't cross his mind. It's not saying it's right, but he doesn't see what is it like the
It's hard to
I
go against those social norms, but he's so
well,
ingrained in just this is
I
the way it
don't
is, and
like when somebody's like, "Well, that's racist," and there's somebody like, "No, it's not." And there's they're like, "Absolutely, it is." I'm trying to
ignorant.
like
I mean,
like sexist or whatever. If
yeah,
you, I don't even know what I'm speaking right
yeah. I
now.
mean,
It
if you're
might be
ignorant
English,
of the
but yet
intent of
he's
what
just
behind what you're saying, yeah,
completely ignorant that this is even an issue until someone from the outside is like, well, "That's kind of fucked up." He's like, "Oh, hold on, shit, kind of is."
yeah. And yes, this was a huge shout out to all the theories out there that Sir Dunk the Lunk is an ancestor of Brienne of Tarth. One of his books is called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and that's specifically how she's presented as a knight as well. So, really liked that, which we will be getting into the Dunk and Egg series at some point soon.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, agreed. So really quick, this was sent to me by Shannon Thompson because she's on this rings thing. So it's badly showing up on mine, but I see what you're talking about. There's little rings just kind of south of Last Hearth, just random golden rings just kind of sitting there.
How many? 5?
Looks like
No,
two right
there's a
here.
whole bunch back there too. Go all the way back. It looks like people trekking through the
Oh, okay.
snow. I
Oh,
didn't know that.
yeah, 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 yeah. I see what you're talking about.
I didn't know that
Yeah.
was the rings you were talking about, Shannon. I've seen them every time. I thought it was like,
And they lead
you
all the way
know,
up to Winterfell.
as they track through.
And
I thought it was somebody's track.
no idea,
All
but
right, let's roll on.
catch.
We got to keep this moving.
Yes.
Let's get to the courtyard with Jorah, Lyanna, and Sam.
I'm sorry, I'm getting out of that. Okay, courtyard. Jorah. Lyanna refuses to hide in the crypts, and Sam gives Jorah his family sword in honor of Jor.
Benj, kick us off.
To guard the realms of men. I like that call out because the one thing that Jor wanted of his son the most was to be allowed to take the black and continue on that family tradition, especially since he's been ostracized, or what, I can't remember the word, but basically ran out by Ned Stark. He wanted Jorah to be able to take the black and be part of the Night's Watch, and so for Jorah to take it, and he's like, to guard the realms of men, using that sword as an honor of his father. It was a very nice, fitting touch that it was good, and I'd like the way that, because there's been speculation that Jorah was getting Heartsbane, and it this way it made sense.
Buddy?
Yeah, pretty big of Sam just to give it up as like the right thing to do, because he says, I can't really use it. It's no use.
Can't even hold it up right.
I can't hold it upright. It just goes to him being unselfish as well. And giving it to someone who can, one, benefit from it, and for two, like, it's not just waiting there in the weeds and
It's a valuable tool
getting
that we
rust
know
on it and
works.
Valyrian rust.
Get a little rust on the dust.
Right.
Abby?
Am I allowed to talk about Lady Mormont yet?
Oh,
Or
damn it, I guess so. Yeah,
okay,
please do.
thanks. Okay, it's cool. They talked. The cousins talked. That's good. She's gonna fight. That's good. Again, I think this is another bad omen, but we'll find out next week.
Stay tuned.
Next week, Game of
Right.
Thrones.
I think we were talking about that last week of there was all these reunions and shit like that, and we're like, well, Jorah and Lyanna didn't really have a one-on-one convo or anything, and here you see it. Actually, what we think was going to happen last week, it happened this week, though.
Yeah, and I do like how she's like, I will not hide underground. She's very much pulling, exactly who she's always been. She's like, I signed all of us up to fight, and guess what? I'm also going to fight. I'm not some little girl that's gonna go hide in the in the crypts. Like, I'm here to lead, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And we have another kind of shout out to the I wish you good fortune. She says cousins, but the good fortune of the wars to come. That's a really consistent kind of salutation that gets used, especially really precluding a battle. So I just liked
I
that.
wish you best in your future endeavors.
Thanks, Bench. Appreciate that. So that was kind of it on those scenes. Anything else, Abby? Anything on Sam? It's just nice, I think.
It's nice. Like, I agree with what everybody's saying. It's big of him. It's wise also, and that's not surprising for Sam. Might as well let somebody who's going to be able to wield it correctly and do some damage use it instead of just having it.
I agree. So let's go back to the fire one more time, where we have the aforementioned Council of Elders again.
Just didn't want to type it all out. The
Elders
wine is gone.
gone.
Why is the wine always gone? And Tyrion would like a song. Pod obliges as we see how people have chosen to spend their possible last moments.
So yeah, this to me was the what did I say? The icing on the cake that is this calm before the storm episode. This is where I was like, yes, this is exactly like leading up to Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings, or the battle in front of Minas Tirith, and especially when Pippin starts singing, and I'm like, wow, okay, Pod is Pippin, and it even goes through. It has it carry like the vocals carrying over this segue of scenes between a bunch of other people with Arya, with the soup scene, which I'm not going to take away from Glenn, and a bunch of other people that are just preparing, and I think it's brilliant, and I love it, and it's just a beautiful scene.
Right. See, I got more of a Saving Private Ryan scene.
Okay.
Where they have the big battle is coming up, and they're just kind of really waiting for the fight to come to them, if you will. But you kind of see everyone in their groups or cliques, and everyone's pretty much kind of talking about stories, or they have one of the groups plays a record, like a French song or something like that, and it's just kind of really similar.
Yeah, no, it is. And Abby, what are your thoughts on this singing and preparing?
Well, I did wonder what the song was, and I found out that it was called Jenny of Old Stones,
Well,
right? Gold Jenny.
it's actually Jenny's song.
Okay, Jenny's song.
Jenny's
and then
song.
I asked, hold on, let me get out my. So then I asked, very nice in a chat, what is Jenny's song? And Benji expertly says, the one Pod was singing. Really?
No.
The whole chat was going, oh, Jenny's song, Jenny's song, Jenny's song. And Abby's like, what's Jenny's song? And like, I was just, it's the one he was just singing. Like,
in my mind, I'm thinking, what is, like, I don't know. I get it. Your answer was right. Like, it was. But I'm like, no shit. Okay. But what the fuck is it about?
Let's go. That's not important right now.
So, Ab, what it's about, it's called Jenny's song. It's about Jenny of Old Stones, or shout out to Jenny of Cold Stones, who hangs out in our chats quite a bit.
And shout out to Chrissy of Old Stones.
Yeah. Yes. It's basically the Ghost of High Heart's favorite song. She's a prophet that lives in the mountains and the Riverlands, and to give her prophecies, she has to hear at least a verse of the song from a character named Thomas Seven Strings. So it's a whole play off of everything. And I didn't catch what song it was originally as it was going. Like, I had to start looking at chats and people talking. I'm definitely not that smart. So shout out to everybody else. I just researched it afterwards of it. But I do like that now we've had, I think, every song from the novels that we've had at least some verse to portrayed in the show. And it's Bear Maiden Fair, Jenny's song, Reigns of Castamere, Dornishman's Wife, and there's one Cold Hands of Gold.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the songs in the books so far that we've gotten lyrics to, and they've now portrayed each one of them in the show. So I like that they added that in, and it was very well done by Daniel, by Pod. It was the right call of having him be the singer for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jenny dances with her goats.
Yeah, I like that part where, high in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her goats.
Yeah, because
I loved the goats
the
reference
goats.
there.
Gotta dance with them goats.
It's ghosts.
No,
every
no,
time
no,
he
it's not.
says it,
No.
it sounds like goats to me.
It's goats.
Yeah. It's
Why would you
goats.
dance with a ghost?
I was
makes
so
more
distracted by the
sense.
goats at that point. I didn't even hear the rest of the song.
The
I was like,
goats.
man, I'm so excited about these goats that she's dancing with in the hall.
The goats.
I really want some goats. They're so
I
cute.
know, so you can dance with them.
Yeah, I would dance with
The
them.
goats
for
come to
sure.
dance,
and
my
I would
lord,
build
dance,
them.
my lord, dance, my
Charles
lord.
Dance, the goat man.
See, I would
There
name.
you go.
I would name my first goat the Dancer,
Or you get two, one named Charles, one named Dance.
and then I had to get one named Tywin.
There you go. You're
Yeah.
set. You have a whole herd of goats now. But I think it's a really beautiful scene. It's really, really well done. The singing is really, really strong. But it's very like normal person singing. It's not like, wow, oh, he's a professional singer. It's way over the top with like being overdone. No, it's just like this is what it would sound like if a guy was just hanging out singing and he had a pretty good voice. I thought it was really natural and suited the scene really, really well.
Agreed. No, I absolutely agreed. And then on top of it too, we get the shots of the real life last, scenes, quote
Last
unquote,
little,
of how
little nappy, last little soupy.
Soupy. There's the
got some
soup that
got
was
some-
The
promised.
soup that was the nap.
So
that was
question to
promised.
y'all is Sam staying there or is he holding true and coming back out once he hears the horn?
Oh, he's coming back out. They're not down in the crypts yet.
True. Sure. Okay, I would just wonder, like, I agree. I would just
They gotta get their snug on,
Yeah.
Arya's getting hurt. They're not spooning. That's for sure.
She's the goddamn big spoon on that one.
Well, I don't know. I think for women, sex doesn't make them as tired as men.
I know it's a lot
Personal-
harder for us.
It is not harder. Y'all are just like, I don't even know.
Yeah, you
Uh,
don't know. So
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't know what it's like for you, but all I know is my ass is awake afterwards. I'm like, woo, ready for the day. It's 12 in the morning. Awesome.
So who also doesn't have that problem is Grey Worm. Him
Yeah.
and Miss Sandy have a little goodbye kiss, and I don't think he's gonna be too tired after this.
You know who else doesn't have that problem? Theon, who's having a nice little meal with Sansa.
That's the soup that
Yeah,
was
the soup,
promised.
the
It's
soup.
all about the soup in this
Listen, he-
episode.
He chows down on a bunch of soup. Maybe we'll get.
AK.
Yeah, so I don't know, any final thoughts on this? We got Jorah on his horse as well. There's that part. So let's go down to the crypts for our, it says, vaginal scene.
Vaginal scene.
Don't know
I
why
did
it
not
says
type
fi-
that.
I
Final
must have
scene.
autocorrected. But I took,
Vaginal scene.
how does it autocorrect from final
Easy,
to
guys.
vaginal? Anyway, this is our vaginal scene down in the crypts.
What
and-
happened to that paperclip that tells you?
Paperclip, come and save me. I don't have anything to drink, so I'll just drink this. Cheers for a vaginal scene. I
Vaginal
guess.
scene.
And we have John, Danny, and basically everyone else.
Oh, so Danny finds John in the crypts and he finally tells her of his parentage. She is skeptical and a horn sounds. Winter has arrived.
Rehorn sound.
Re-
It was specifically others.
Fine. And horns is sound.
And horns is blow.
Yeah.
Abby, I'm going to come to you first on this one.
I'm not surprised, I guess, at how Danny reacts, but I hate that we don't either have like the actual gigantic blow up or the not even resolution, just we don't get any more than her first like 4 thoughts out of her head and then saved by the bell, like let's go focus on something else.
It's all right.
But I don't know.
'Cause I'm
It's
so
happened a whole bunch of times.
bad.
Every time Danny has some type of like tricky situation, her and Sansa,
Get
her
pulled
and
away.
yeah,
Every
we get
time.
pulled away. Like, no, let's either see some true colors because I don't think she says anything here that is like completely damning or where I'm gonna be like, all right, hold up, step back, or wow, that was really big of her. I don't get any of that from either of these scenes,
Mm-hmm.
which
It's just
kind of makes
consistently leaving her off looking like a total bitch.
yeah,
Both
because
times.
I think it's very easy to say, "Oh, Danny, look at her. She's not going to accept John. She's questioning him, blah, blah, blah." But maybe she's just being genuine in that, like, people are naturally self absorbed. How does this affect me? That doesn't mean that's where their decision making is going to come from.
That initial gut reaction is gonna be really surprised. I mean, for sure.
Exactly. It's not fair to let somebody process something in 32 seconds and not give them the next day, like, you know what? All right, I've processed and this is my decision or this is how I want to handle it. No, we get to just judge her, who people already judge her harshly.
What a bitch.
Yeah, like on her first, I have worked my entire life for this and now I just found out I don't even, like, my claim is less than this dude right here. Great. Like, I don't know. I
What
hate that we just get that small
do you
portion.
know?
Please,
Know
Glenn,
what?
no.
What are your feelings on Danny's, I guess, reaction to this news?
this?
Or how John presented it to her? Either one. Whatever you want.
I mean, like this whole time he's been kind of standoffish and kind of avoiding her almost. So I mean, I think she came down here because she knew something was up and was kind of like, okay, let's
He's brooding.
confront him about this, I guess. And then he kind of tells her, and she's like, okay, like a secret that nobody knew, but your brother and best friend come and like say this or whatever. Like, it's kind of weird, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not
It's
saying you're wrong, but it's kind of like
pretty convenient.
convenient, I guess. But then like, there's no real time to let it sink in. Before they hit, get the kind of the bell tolls,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the Army of the Dead knocking at the door. And it looked pretty intense
Yeah.
for
yeah.
a second. Yeah, we didn't get like a whole lot. We just see the dead horses and a couple of the generals.
The gens. A bunch of gens showed up.
General So
I really thought
Ooh, I like General Sub.
it's yummy.
yeah.
The horses' legs. We've seen these dead horses before, but I very much got a Westworld feel, like the opening credits to Westworld feel.
Yeah, where they're kind of like making the horses.
and you like see like the bones and tendons. Like it just
Right.
something about the way the bones and tendons look here. I was like, yeah, they took some notes on just the graphic of that. I felt like, which looks awesome. I think it looks incredible. And
It looks like bones and tendons.
Boom.
have you seen the intro to Westworld?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so are you just being kind of a jerk?
I'm just gonna be a big jerk who
That's fine.
likes
Yeah,
bones and
joik.
tendons. I don't know. Weird.
That makes sense. Bench, do you like
Yeah,
bones and
so-
tendons as well?
I like bones and tendies. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, going to the second half of this really quick. That's a whole shit ton of Crastersons.
Bunch of
Like,
Crastersons.
There
You
was
can't
a-
even count them all.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
tried.
1, 2, 3.
There's,
One, a
like-
two, a three.
they copy Control C, Control V to a lot of them all the way around there.
Gave him different
Uh,
haircuts, slightly.
Yeah, in different haircuts, exactly. But so it's like, okay, damn, because I knew there was a ton of whites. There's a ton of whites, ton of dead, but that's a shit ton of Crastersons. There's probably more than just Crastersons. Looking at that now, because they didn't have that many sons, or he didn't have that many sons. But anyway,
he had a whole shit ton of wives.
yeah,
There's one man with 20 children, probably 10 are boys. If he has 15 wives,
And he was banging his daughters, so it wasn't like he had to wait for like his wife to have the kid to have another
No,
one.
he
He
could
was
have
popping them out like
I
crazy.
get
hundreds
that.
of sons. Hundreds.
On a 50-50 basis. I'm just yes, is it possible? Yes, but it makes me think maybe it wasn't just Crasser supplying the Night King. That's all I was saying.
It could be. That's fair.
That's all I was saying. But going back to the Danny and John thing, I'm not surprised by her reaction. Am I annoyed by it? Sure. Uh, but it's understandable because, as you guys said, it's new information, brand new information, and yeah, your brother and your best friend are the one that are putting this up. So it's fine for her to be skeptical, but at the same time, it's like that instant hate. Instead, she went from hugging on him and being all lovey-dovey to now you're a rival. Now you're, you know, coming from my claim, which John has never, you know, given any interest. And yes, again, as viewers, we understand this as they're just hooking up. She might not understand. John's had no interest in any of that. And so her instant hate and anger, it's put offish. It's like, oh, okay, chill out for just a second, think about it. And then, hey, maybe if you think about it, as AK in the chat said, I was going to bring this up. If they do end up together, married, they're still going to be king and queen together with the strongest of,
I don't think he's gonna want to
claims.
be the fucking king at
I don't
all.
think so either.
Like,
I
think
agree.
about it, Danny. He couldn't give two shits. You still get to be it. Just don't be a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. And so again, I understand where she's coming from because she said earlier in this episode, all I've ever thought about was the Iron Throne. She, and so at this point, when she finds out my claim not is worthless, but it's second to somebody else now, that's all she's ever focused on was the Iron Throne, and now it's like shit. So I get where her mentality is. I don't like her attitude, but I'm not supposed to as the viewer. It's supposed to be because we see the whole picture. So it's one of those hard things to swallow on our end of it's like, yeah, she's justified in her anger, but it doesn't mean you have to like it or, think it's right.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I think like the real big kicker to this is like the people find out, or once they do find out, like if they're not on her side, like, or if it there's a big divide that could be harmful, I guess, to the peeps of the Seven Kingdoms.
That would have been a better episode title. Peeps of the Seven
peeps
Kingdoms.
of the Seven Kingdoms.
So let's go ahead and get to that. That I think wraps up our main chat here, and let's get to the episode title accuracy. It was actually called The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but I think we would all agree that maybe the peeps
would
of the
work
Seven
a little bit
Kingdoms
better.
would be even better.
Really hit home.
So what do you think, Glennie, of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Oh, it's good, but
second best.
Maybe peeps would have been my first choice.
Good runner-up for
the
sure.
Peeps.
Ben.
Speaking of peeps, did anybody have a peep?
No, I did not.
Okay, never mind.
I'm just answering for myself. I don't know about them. You can ask them too.
I don't eat peeps. Fuck them.
0 for 2. Abby, did you have a peep?
No
for
peep
Easter?
love.
I don't like peeps.
I just didn't do Easter.
I had one peep.
So you peeped.
I peeped.
A peeping
Just
Glenn.
because I thought the episode title was going to be Peeps of the Seven Kingdoms. That's why I did it.
I had to have one honorary peep.
There are sour apple peeps on my table and party cake peeps on my table, and I mean, ugh.
You bought these peeps?
I did not. They were brought to my house.
The one I wish I could still do is Cadbury eggs, but not.
The only good
so
thing
much-
about peeps is if you put them in the microwave and they just like expand and then you throw them away.
You just throw 'em away. Ben, what'd you think of this episode title?
It's actually perfect. Because they didn't title it before the episode, had no inclination, but watching it's the right call. It's the emotional point. You can't really call it Arya gets her some. So besides that, it was the right emotional point of the episode that needed to be accentuated.
Abby.
I thought this was a very Jamie heavy episode. This is Jamie's doing that she becomes a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I like it. It's good with me. Boom.
That's why I said I think when you asked me what I think the title was going to be, I said Kingslayer.
Which I thought was
just because I thought it was going to be a Jamie
Yeah, I easily was convinced. I was like, that's a pretty good call of
Yeah.
that would make, because we knew it was gonna be a Jamie centric episode, which I mean it opens on that. That's where it ended last time. That's gonna be the biggest thing, and I think that's true. I mean, because he is kind of responsible for doing this for Brienne, and I think it's a good title. I like it. I like the shout out to Dunk the Lunk, thick as a castle wall. It's just a strong tie that is a little fan servicey, but it doesn't hurt anything because it also very, very much applies to her specifically. And it was tastefully done in the episode. Description accuracy. Jamie argues his case before a skeptical audience. Abby, read the longer one that you had written down because that was better.
Jamie presents his case to Bran, Daenerys, and Sansa to answer for his mistakes. The gathered armies continue to prepare.
Okay, I think those things happen because he really doesn't even present his case to John, right? It doesn't even
Nope.
say John there. John's just there, right? He's so in his
John's
own
like,
world right now.
yeah, he's alive. He can stay.
Yeah, I need him. I
Yeah.
got a use for him. That's fine. It's fine. It's episode description. It's fine. A lot of preparation. The trial thing happened. I'm glad it was not half the episode like some people were saying. I thought, yeah, this was just the right amount because it didn't need to be that big of a fucking deal. There were more important things, which I think is what happened.
And I do like that I was actually wrong about him
Me
calling
too.
himself out about being the one to throw Bran. I'm glad that it's a non-issue kind of thing at this point.
We've also gone through the whole we're fighting for the living. If you're living, you're on our side. So Jamie's living. If he says he wants to fight, he can fight. 43 seconds. We're done with it. Great. Let's move on. I like it.
All right, let's go to our favorite things section. Least favorite thing, Glennie dog.
I was kind of interested in like the Golden Company storyline. What's going on there? So obviously, nothing really happened.
Kind of missed out on it.
With that, but at the same token, it could be a good payoff for later episodes.
Benj.
So the overarching Danny attitude throughout the episode, and I think it's by design. I think it's intended to make us question her and be annoyed with her as viewers. So I'm kind of falling into that a bit, but I think by design I'm not supposed to like it, and I don't. So
Abby, least favorite thing.
So it's going to tie into my favorite thing, and it has to do with speculations about who the little girl was that Davos talked to. Spoiler alert, my favorite thing is the Davos Gilly little Scottish girl scene. The humanity in it, the value of the child in it, not that particular, but just children and their needs, and they are real humans with real stresses and real wants and desires, not just somebody to be silenced and sent away. I like every single bit of that. My least favorite thing was somebody in a chat last night said, "Do you guys think that's Melisandre?" The fuck did you just say to me?
The little girl.
Yes, that's her glamored as a little girl. I am now terrified.
I heard similar things that she was going to show up as a crone, so I think this would be an interesting switch on that.
I don't remember who presented it last night, but I was like, "You just wrecked me. Like
So,
you've wrecked me."
I don't want to derail this too much longer, but I don't think it is because I know in my heart that Melisandre is showing up with those fucking elephants. So that's all I'll say on that.
Yeah.
In my heart, that is going to be true. My least favorite thing, I don't have anything written down, and I don't know if I can think of anything. This is a really strong episode. I think the pacing was good. I think it's everything that it needed to be. If I have to pick something, I don't know, maybe too much bro hugging. It was just kind of like, it's fine. I don't know. They were good scenes though. Just like we got back together. All the characters that needed to see each other did. All the things that needed to happen happened, and I'm happy for it.
Let me go first, really quick with mine, so I can.
I'll let Ben go really, first really quick for his.
Oh, sorry.
Favorite thing.
Thank you. I was just saying for favorite thing is the music. They nailed it, hit the emotional high points, uh, and what the Brienne scene, the girl with the facial scar scene, hitting those, the pod singing. Every time there was something going on, the music notes hit perfectly, and yeah, made me cry like a girl. So, and I'm okay to admit that. I'll be there.
Such a girl.
Glenn, favorite thing.
Unedited.
Reunited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good strong scene. Abby, you already talked about your favorite thing. You want to add anything to it?
No, I really like that we have this possibly one-time character come in. She kills it. We have Gilly, who we don't see a whole bunch, and this is still a great, phenomenal piece of acting. And like I said, it's just some, Davos handing out some soup, and it becomes my favorite episode. That's what I like about Game of Thrones. Those tiny little moments that should just be like, oh, this was kind of a segue into something else. And no, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, really agree with all three of you. Those are really good. I feel like I'm giving more of just an honorable mention because I think Brienne being knighted was huge. I think the humanity in that scene that Abby's talking about with the little girl and Davos and Gilly is huge. Theon showing back up and that hug with Sansa, to me it was really really nice and touching. And then the soup later on. Don't never forget the soup. Soup's not a meal, but never forget the soup.
Soup's on.
Soup's on. I thought that was an incredibly powerful
Soup.
reunion, and it was great soup. I mean, Chrissy of old soup. That's what it was. That's how great it was.
The soup of the day.
The soup of the day. So, let's go ahead and roll out of this mug. And house name, Glenny Dog.
Glen of House Dog.
House words, Glenny
You
Dog.
miss 99% of the shots you don't take.
House sigil, Glenny Dog.
A dog with a jersey on.
Your occupation.
Miller?
Your personal.
Does it say Miller?
That's what you said last time. Do you want to change it?
Yeah, I can be a Mill.
You want to be a Miller still?
Miller.
Okay.
Mill. Dog Mill or
Personal Twitter.
at Popsicle Stand.
Final thought.
This was your typical run of the mill season 8 episode 2 of a Game of Thrones.
Is that a good thing or a
Show.
bad thing?
It was a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Although I will say, like, it's definitely one of those teeing up the next episode. The next
Yeah.
episode looks like it's going to be intense and kind of badass a little bit.
This is
A
certainly
lot of action.
the alley for the upcoming Oop.
Nicely
Abby.
done.
Abby. House name.
I am Gertie of House Condescension.
House words.
We don't quit.
House Sidge.
It is a field of white with a raven sitting upon a black, up-pointed chevron.
Your occupation in the realm.
I am the mother of drains, and if I could add one, I have made a slight change to a different one, if you don't mind.
Sure, you can making an update, huh?
I'm making an update. So, you, Luke, and the chat tonight has convinced me. I believe Phil H. This is for you. My house fool is Daryl the douche.
Daryl the douche.
Daryl the douche.
Drinks battery
Yes.
acid. He's a great guy.
Yep.
He's just a real
What a
charmer.
douche.
Real charmer.
Douchebag.
Daryl the douche.
That's
I will
it.
write that in there for you.
That's the guy.
Derelict.
The douche. All right, and your personal Twitter.
That is at Go Home Gertie.
At Daryl the douche.
At Daryl the No, it's not, but I'm gonna make that guy for sure.
Final thought.
My final thought is you should really call your mother.
It's good douche. Sorry. You should really call your mother. I can't believe you did that to me. Get out of here
I'm
with that.
sorry, the mother of drunkards. I told her, if you want to come on and say hi, and you were like, the mother of podcasts. I was like, oh, look at Luke giving
I
the
was going to say,
G-rated
Luke was
version.
probably too busy going to all kinds of masses.
I was at mass all day. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't
sure you
call.
were.
Yeah.
From Mass.
You were at mass.
We actually don't
Hey.
call it mass, Glenn.
What did you say?
Don't worry about it. Inside joke. I'll drink.
Okay, great. People from Massachusetts do not like being called math holes. Okay, just FYI.
That's fine. Luke's not from Massachusetts, so.
Okay, well there you go.
Benj. House name.
Sly of House McLean.
House words.
It's dangerous to drink alone. Take this.
Is that your not broken glass?
This is the not. We had two of them. Now we're down to one. Thanks, Shannon.
House Sigil.
3 black triangles floating on a red balloon.
Occupation.
We are the headsman to our local liege lord, but we've been upgraded from animal control to kennel master.
There you
I thought
go.
that sounded better. That's yes, we're kennel masters. I'm a kennel master.
And your personal Twitter.
At Sly McLean.
Final thought.
This is a good episode. I think we're on to, like, I'm gonna say I was onto something where they're gonna hit the main tenements per episode for the first couple at least, and this was the relationship kind of just interpersonal building episode, and I like that. I enjoyed that.
Is tenements
I want
a
some
word?
more of that.
It's the second time you said the word tenements. I
Tenements.
don't know if that's a word.
Yes, it's a word. It's absolutely a word. I
A room
guarantee you.
or a set of rooms forming a separate residence within a house or a block of apartments.
Tenants.
Do you know what is a word though? And I was really upset that whatever podcast this was on, I was not part of at that very time because I had to use the restroom. Omnipotent. It's a word.
Yeah,
Listen
it
to the
is.
Hallelujah chorus, and you will
Yeah.
fucking know.
Omnipotent. It's the God thing.
It's all
yeah,
knowing.
it's
all knowing.
That's why
all
Luke
knowing.
It was the I had said it wrong because I
Yeah.
was defending Dave Worry. That was season 7 episode 4 Spoils of War episode where
tenets. Sorry,
tenets is the word you're looking for. But
yes, not tenements. You're right.
Tenements.
Yes,
I'll
tenets.
reign forever.
Sorry,
ever.
you made me thinking. Yes, tenets.
Tennis.
Gene Tennis at the
Gene Tennis at the bat.
All right,
There.
I
All right,
am
fine.
Luke on of House Blackmead. Our house
Thank you,
words,
Bridge.
or ours is the drink. House
Produced by
Sigil
Mom.
is an obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background. My occupation is a mead maker. It's gross. You can find me on Twitter at LukeFerocious. And my final thought, I agree with Phil H. We need to get the mother of podcasts back on here because I have some complaints about us as well.
Maybe you should call her.
I should probably call her and talk to her. Phil, I'll talk to her for you. Phil wants to know if we can get his money back. That's what he's asking for. But I really, really enjoyed this episode. I think it's a very strong alley to the upcoming Oop. And I'm excited for the next episode.
They're bringing Allie back.
They're bringing Allie back. No, they won't. No. But become a patron to get access to all sorts of fun reward tiers and access to our Slack chat and all fun things where you can talk to us kind of throughout the day. Learn more about that and a bunch of other fun stuff at patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all of the ways you can help keep our beer bank full, check out thepodcast.com/support us. Glenn, what are we doing this upcoming week?
Ice and FireCon.
Yeah, you excited?
Going to bed.
Going to bed. What do we do this week? We're getting some sleep.
Getting some sleep for now.
All right, so join us there if you'll be there. If not, we will hopefully see you again another time. I'm very excited. Check us out on Twitter at No and Drink or Instagram to get updates on what we've got going on at Ice and FireCon throughout the week, starting Thursday night. Send us a digital raven at noanddrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes or here on YouTube if you're watching us live. And thank you for joining us live. Hit that notification bell so you get the notification as soon as we go live every single Monday night. And until next time,
As always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter is coming. So did I.
and as always, stay imaginary. Thanks, guys.